Christian Miller. It's time for the Miller's Edge with 4-time SEC champion and 2-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are ready for another day of some sports talk coming at you today. We're going to kind of go a number of different places. If you have seen the stream title or you guys are checking us out on the stream, we always encourage you guys to do that again. We do stream live via YouTube, X, as well as Facebook if you guys prefer to watch the show. Going to talk a little bit about everything we've learned so far during Alabama spring practice, kind of do a little bit of an overview as we quickly approach A-Day, which is just a few short days away. This Saturday, 1 p.m. kickoff time. Again, returning back to the original scrimmage-like format. Everybody's fired up and excited about that, as we are as well. I'm looking forward to it. Maybe I'll get to see and run into a number of you guys as well. I know you guys keep asking. We'll be there. Don't have anything set up in terms of like where we'll be or what we're doing, but normally, like I said, kind of hovering around the field area, but I'm sure we can figure something out, and hopefully I can run into as many of you guys as possible. That said, we will recap kind of some of the things we've just been hearing, learning so far through Alabama spring practice as it comes to a close. They got to practice tomorrow before going into A-Day, and we'll kind of discuss some of the latest things that we've been hearing, been talking about. Yesterday was media availability for practice, the last one of the spring. Plenty of clips coming out of that. So I'm sure you guys have been able to see a number of these players up close with all of the new angles and videos and all that stuff coming out. So we'll love to answer you guys' questions because I know we haven't really gone to chat messages in a minute. So maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll load up on like a mailbox full of questions that you guys might have regarding this football team throughout this spring. And we definitely can discuss that and talk about it here on the show. If you guys want to jump in on the conversation and actually talk to me about it, well, we always encourage you to call us 205-342-9904. I know we had to get to some phone calls kind of late yesterday and kind of rush through them, but should have plenty of time today. Don't have anybody officially lined up. We'll see if Gray Robertson can join us, if he can squeeze in some time. That way we can get an update on the latest going around, not just football, but all sports. Baseball doing some really good stuff. A top 10 team right now. Softball, number 1 ranked. I believe they both won their games that they've had so far midweek, which is awesome. So a lot of really good things going on. Plus, we got some more updates with the transfer portal, not with football, of course. Remember, there's only one portal. Don't have to worry about the post-spring portal anymore. But with basketball, with that portal, there are some more moves happening there, definitely on both ends. Hearing some noise about some potential targets. And, of course, I'm sure you guys have heard or seen that there was another name added to the portal coming out of Alabama. So we'll talk about that and discuss that even further here in a moment. I got some exciting news for you guys. I just shared it with Chase, and that news is, well, we got A-Day this Saturday. We're all looking forward to it and excited about it. And, of course, we're looking forward to Monday's show. Why? Because we're going to break it down. You guys, if you get to attend, we'll get to see this team in person. I'm sure you'll have plenty of thoughts, comments, and concerns and want to discuss it with me, at least I hope. I know I'm going to want to discuss what was seen Saturday in the A-Day scrimmage. But on top of that, which that's already exciting, we're going to be joined by none other than head coach Kalen DeBoer. At the top of the hour on Monday, we'll speak to the head coach directly here on the Miller's Edge, and we'll get his thoughts coming out of A-Day, wrapping up this spring football as they look forward to probably having a little bit of a break as guys finish up school. They'll still have some workouts and whatnot, but, around this late April, May time is kind of when you start to kind of wind down a little bit before you really ramp back up for summer. So we'll hear from head coach Kalen DeBoer on Monday at the top of the hour. So really excited about it. We're kicking off the new offseason with a bang, and that will be with head coach Kalen DeBoer. So I'm sure he'll probably end up calling in, but maybe we can kind of convince him to jump on the stream if he doesn't mind. We'll see. I'll have to ask him about that. But head coach Kalen DeBoer will be joining the show Monday at the top of the hour. Chase, a couple of things that also have come up on my timeline. You guys know I use X for pretty much my news source, even though that used to be, in my opinion, pretty reliable. Now all of these people use all these clickbait, I guess not bios, whatever, like descriptions, and I don't know. It's getting bad, but been a number of things that have popped up. Some more updates with the NFL draft. It's crazy how this stuff works, right? We talked about it, Chase. There's a little bit of love for Ty Simpson. And as the season concluded, there's definitely, some criticism how the season ended. And then it really started ramping up. I mean, we're hearing Dan Orlovsky and other guys, really start, shouting from the mountaintops, the praise for him as a prospect, feeling that he could potentially, surpass Fernando Mendoza. He had his pro day. The talk continued even further. Then Fernando had his pro day. Then that started to come back up. And now I'm hearing reports again where it seems like, I'm not going to say the talk's kind of dying down, but it's kind of going back to, well, I'm not hearing too many teams say they're like in love with Ty Simpson necessarily. So it's kind of weird, man. It went from, and I guess it's not weird if you know how the draft works. This is pretty standard, but it went from, the guy was in the conversation of potentially being the top quarterback taken, which who knows if that was just a few people hearing or saying that or what, but now it's kind of going back to, well, he's really viewed as more of a second round pick. And that's coming from a number of folks that cover the draft pretty heavily. So it's kind of interesting, but maybe we'll hit on some of those latest updates. I also saw a clip of another former Alabama player that transferred. I know you guys love getting those clips and hearing their thoughts on, transferring in I guess, Alabama. But this one wasn't bad. I know it was Wilkin Formby. He was speaking to the media. Now he is at Texas A&M and kind of discussed, his reasons for transferring. But maybe we'll play that clip and kind of respond to it, get y'all's thoughts on that. Plus, this isn't about transferring, Chase, but this was something that definitely caught my attention because we've been talking about executive orders. We've been talking about trying to put a cap on things, keeping things balanced, making it as even and equal as possible, restoring balance back to college football. And this is just kind of proving the whole executive order thing right for all the people that were complaining about it, making it seem like you're trying to take away from players. I'll just throw this one out here. Jeremiah Smith, who we all know and probably agree that he's arguably the best wide receiver in college football. A lot of people say he's probably the closest prospect to Julio Jones that we've seen in quite some time in terms of the size, the stature, just the way they play the game, big physical specimens out wide. Well, this Ohio State wide receiver, he had some interesting comments, Chase. This comes from On3. We've been talking a lot about transfer portal and guys getting paid and how it's starting to get out of hand. Well, I don't know if you've seen this yet, Chase, but Jeremiah Smith told Chris Lowe, a good buddy of ours here on the show, that he could have made, get this, over $10 million easy if he had left Ohio State. But he claims that he came to Ohio State for a reason, to win championships, develop as a player and a person, and keep building on this legacy, which, to be fair, the former wide receiver coach that was at Ohio State, he just got hired off elsewhere. It was arguably the best wide receivers coach in the country, right? You look at his development, the guys that he's put in the league. I don't think many people would argue. Is it Hartline? Brian Hartline, I think is his name. But I get it. I'm not going against what he's saying. I fully believe if you're a wide receiver and you're looking at development and having a chance to play in the postseason, compete for national championships, they just won one not long ago. He's not lying on that front. But $10 million, Chase? Come on, man. Chase, hold on now. We just were shocked when we heard it was like $6 million. I think Ty was talking about $6 million. We know some of these quarterbacks that are linked to Miami. We're talking $5-6+ million, but $10 million for a wide receiver. Hell, Cam Coleman, who's a really good football player, maybe hasn't necessarily lived up to all his expectations. Granted, he was at Auburn. They've struggled. They haven't had the best system, I would imagine, for a guy like that. But $10 million for one wide receiver. I'm going to have to look and make sure I'm understanding this right. Maybe it was a 2-year deal, which would make it $5 million a year. Still a whole hell of a lot of money for one guy, but at least you're like, okay, we've already heard about receivers, $2-3 million around that range. $5 million for this cat, wouldn't be too far-fetched. But $10 million, Chase? Help me make sense of this. Do you think he's – I don't think he would sit there and lie. Who do you think offered him $10 million? I think I got to guess. Who do you think, Chase?
Man, that whole Ohio State booster club is offering him that. They do not want to see him go.
No. He's well, unless you're saying they're matching it, but he's saying if he had left, he could have easily cleared $10 million. Yeah, he said, no reason to go back home, not when I'm at the best place in the country. I came to Ohio State for a reason to win championships, develop as a player and a person, and keep building on this legacy. I might have grown up in South Florida, but I'm a Buckeye. That's not changing. I wasn't going anywhere. So even if he's just kind of talking in that sense, I mean, it almost sounds like he's talking about, yeah, I'm from South Florida. Well, we know there's a prominent school down in South Florida that is known to hand out some bags. Sounds like he might have been, kind of alluding to maybe Miami, but he went on to say over $10 million easy. And it says he was smiling as he said that. Hell, I'd probably be smiling too if I know I could have. If I had offered $10 million to sit in there. He said, but that's not how I operate. Miami wasn't the only school making a push. So I guess maybe, I don't know if he flat out said Miami. Maybe I skipped over it. Maybe they're just alluding to it since he said the whole growing up in South Florida thing. I think we all kind of assumed it might have been a school like Miami, but goodness gracious, man. That's kind of crazy. I mean, Chase, I'm not going to lie to you. I understand he loves Ohio State. Listen, he's already done some great things at Ohio State. We all know that. I mean, $10 million to return home, man, that's pretty tough. But I will say this, and I'm not saying, he comes from not the best place, but I do know it is a common thing. Sometimes you got to be careful going back home, especially when you've kind of gone off and done some really good stuff and you got a lot to look forward to. You got a lot of things going in your favor. Honestly, probably was a better idea to maybe stay away from that. Not saying his situation back home was unfavorable. Hell, I mean, I feel like I grew up in a pretty had a decent, childhood or, upbringing, right? But still, even I didn't want to necessarily return home because you got the same people from high school, same people that are doing stuff. There's going to be a lot of people that are probably doing things that aren't good or they don't have as much going for you or for them, I should say. And sometimes you got to be careful surrounding yourself with that. And I don't know, probably smart to stay put at Ohio State, even if that meant sacrificing several $1 million, which sounds crazy, but to think about it, I mean, this guy is going to end up being, I would imagine, a top 10 draft pick. Now, I imagine he's going to be a top 10 draft pick. And we all know if you're, 1, 2, or 3, you're talking 30-something million dollars guaranteed to 20-something million dollars. And by top 10, you're still looking at roughly 15 to maybe $20 million guaranteed, if I'm not mistaken. So, I don't know. I want y'all's thoughts on that, but I think it's safe to say this is why we need the whole executive order thing. Because if you got one school that's willing and able to pay $10 million for one wide receiver, we know Michigan paid like 12 for Bryce Underwood, but that was over like the course of 3 years, I believe. So you're averaging $4 million a year, but 10. Nah, man. Who is supposed to compete with that, Chase? Like, if you're only going off the cap, man, the cap's $22 million. That's damn near 50% of the whole revenue share cap for the whole athletic department, not even just football, man.
Christian, talk about it, man.
Like $10 million is what most people are probably, delegating to the football team alone. Like $10 million for one guy? For one guy, and you need how many? What's the roster at? I think around like at least 80 or something like that. Goodness gracious, man. And this is exactly why they got the executive. So all the agents and all the people that are complaining about why is there an executive over there taking from the players? No, not necessarily taking from the players, man. Let's just call it spade. He made $10 million, man. I don't even think he should waste no time going to the NFL. Park your rear right there in college and just make all dudes don't even really have to go to the NFL anymore if they hit it right in college. Now you can make more money in college than the NFL now. And get offered a house for the folks, nice Tahoe for the folks. Hell, free charter. Like, ooh, man, it's crazy nowadays. We got to hit a timeout. We come back. We'll keep talking about that a little bit. We'll discuss everything we've learned about Alabama so far through the spring. A lot of nuggets that have been out there, a lot of intel. We've been talking about a whole bunch of it. I kind of want to start putting a bow on everything, even though it's not completely done. We still got a couple more days of spring ball, but I want to start kind of putting a bow on everything we've learned and kind of discussing it and answering any questions that you guys might have that might be lingering ahead of A-Day. We'll do all that when we come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide of 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
Don't let tax
Yeah, we gotta discuss this even further when we come back, guys. Because listen, I said top 10. I mean, dude clearly could easily be a top 5 pick. Who knows where he ends up going? There's a lot of factors involved. I love the guy as a receiver. I love him as a football player. I mean, he's honestly he appears to be one of those generational type football players. Now, I know people throw around those terms loosely, and trust me, I'm not trying to be that guy to add on to it. But I'm just saying, when you talk about the size, the speed, the hands, I mean, the guy, if you were making a wide receiver in a lab, I mean, that I don't know I don't think there's anything that he's really lacking. I mean, unless you guys can correct me on that. I know there's a couple of times he had some moments last season, right? But I mean, just in terms of just athletic ability and just everything that he can do, man. I mean, for a wide receiver prospect, I don't know what else you really need out of the guy. That said, I'm not paying. I would $10 million, man. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I want more context. Because it was $10 million for 2 seasons. Like, did he mean like after his sophomore season, so he'd have his junior year and his senior year, it would be $10 million, but really $5 million because he has one more year before he's draft eligible? If I had to guess, it probably was along the lines of that. But for the sake of making it even more entertaining, we're just going to stick with that whole $10 million deal because it's crazy. By the way, the guy's 20 years old. He was born in 2005. 6'4", 225 pounds. So far, he's got 163 receptions, over 2,500 yards, and 27 receiving touchdowns through 2 years of playing wide receiver at Ohio State. 2-time Big Ten Receiver of the Year, Big Ten Freshman of the Year, 2-time first-team All-American, national champion his freshman year, Rose Bowl MVP. I mean, golly, man. I mean, listen, I like the guy. I mean, and just running down this list of his accolades. Trust me, I get it. I get it, but $10 million, nah. You can get the best left tackle in college football for $2 million. $10 million is not feasible. I feel like Jordan Seaton was probably a little bit more than $2 million, Carson. I'm not gonna lie to you. Have you guys seen his updated pictures, man? He just looks like an NFL tackle, man. He's not fat. I mean, I think he was talking about the LSU strength and conditioning program. He didn't look bad at Colorado either, but right now, man, he kind of reminds me of what's his name? Is it Tyron Smith from the Cowboys? One of those types of tackles, right? It's very athletic. And we watched that little clip that one day, man, of him moving. I saw some clips of him at LSU spring practice. Same thing with him. I mean, you know what you get out of that guy. Man, he's going to play a decade plus in the league. Crazy either way. Yeah, even $5 million is crazy. I mean, even if you do slash it in half, even that's crazy, man. Man, that's. And welcome back into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're going to dive into some Alabama football talk here in a moment, but right now we're talking about this whole Jeremiah Smith deal that came out. Speaking of Chris Lowe, just talking about his decision to stay at Ohio State. It's kind of crazy to me, Chase, how different it is where like every year it's almost like, oh, why'd you decide to stay? Like even just if you think about it, like even just wording things like that is crazy that you have to almost congratulate guys for staying firm on their commitment, right? You sign and I get it, some of these quote unquote, not NIL, but NLI, right? These letters of intent and these scholarships that they sign. Nowadays, I'm sure it is really majority of the time like a year-to-year thing. I know a lot of schools have started doing that. But it is just crazy to me that it's almost like we congratulate guys just for staying at a school, which I get it. I mean, it is worthy of praise because it's not very common, but the fact that we're at this point is just kind of wild. But he was discussing, his reasons for staying at Ohio State, and not like he would have any other reasons other than money. I don't see why he would want to leave Ohio State. I mean, he's the man up there. During the break, we were reading off the list of accolades that this young man has acquired through 2 short years of college football. Just to recap, college football national champion his freshman year, Rose Bowl MVP last season, unanimous All-American, first-team All-American, 2-time Big Ten Receiver of the Year, Big Ten Freshman of the Year, 2-time first-team All-Big Ten. I mean, literally any accolade that this guy could have won, he's won it at this point, except I guess the what's it called? The Blitnikoff, right? He didn't win the Blitnikoff, did I? Can't remember. I'm drawing a blank. I don't think he did. And they definitely probably would have said that. No, he didn't win it because the guy from who won it last year? I'm drawing a blank, Chase. Anyway, I don't think he's not won it yet. But regardless, he's probably going to win it this year. I'd imagine Ryan Williams would like to have a word about that. If Ryan can return to form and and do some big stuff. I mean, I think he'll definitely be in that conversation. But I think right now, probably the betting favorite, because we all know, and I'm not saying things are political. Oh, Lemon. Oh yeah, from Southern Cal. Was that who won it? I'm not saying things are political, but we all know, like when you got a guy like this, and they're going into that prospect year where they're about to leave. Sometimes they don't have the highest production, and I don't think it should only be about numbers on a piece of paper because that can definitely be tricky. But we always know, I mean, the guy they're going to have some heavy influence on that. You know what I mean? Um, dang man, somebody said Ryan's not in the same class as Smith. Well, there was the conversation their freshman year, and everybody was kind of going back and forth. And at that point in time, I think there definitely was, a conversation to be had. I mean, I think still a lot of people favor the bigger body receiver who really had, I'm not saying he had the same level of athleticism because it is a little bit different, right? But he went too far behind, and just seeing how productive he was his freshman year, I mean, helping contribute. Yeah, I think Travis Hunter won it in 2024, but then last year or somebody else. But I would put a lot of money that this guy's going to win in this upcoming year. That said, there was a little bit of an argument between these two guys their freshman season, but yeah, I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. I mean, right now, I hate to make that comment because I'm riding with my guy Ryan and our guys, but Jeremiah Smith has separated himself, not just from Ryan, but arguably almost every other wide receiver in college football. Now, the guy's not perfect. I mean, he had a couple, matter of fact, I think the opener against Texas, I think he's a little quiet that game. He's had some games where he's had some drops here and there, but there's no denying this guy is a generational talent at wide receiver. And I'm still just trying to wrap my head around the whole $10 million thing because it's just kind of wild. I try to look for some more context in that. If I had to guess, I'm pretty sure it probably was because he does have 2 years of eligibility remaining. I would not be shocked if it was 2-year, $10 million, which is like $5 million a year. He would end up only playing 1 year because we know he's going to the league after this year. Still a whole heck of a lot of money for a wide receiver for one season. But I just wonder how this whole thing is going to look, Chase, once this executive order is passed, because we've talked about over the last couple of days, and we talked about some of the things that they're pushing for. And we'll hear from Adam tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to that. Again, shout out to our guys over at Lamprello Law Education and Advocacy. Adam's going to fill us in on everything about this executive order and also kind of how it will be enforced because it is a little bit different than, a full law and bill that's been completely passed. And we all know that they're threatening taking funding and all that. But anyway, I just can't imagine that that's still going to be a thing in a couple, I don't know, maybe a short couple of months, whenever. I don't know when this is supposed to get passed. But I don't see how you can afford to pay one guy, let alone a wide receiver, $5 million if you're actively working under the whole revenue cap thing. So we'll have to see, though. But Chase, I'm just wondering, man, like Miami, though, how do they get away with this? I mean, I want to say, what was the number they offered Ty, like $6.5 million? If you're offering this guy that amount, I mean, that's $10+ million in 1 year at least for two players. I mean, they're clearly overboard. I mean, would you agree, Chase, that, I mean, like, we talk so much about Oregon and Texas, but are we sleeping on Miami? How do we know Miami's not the biggest spender? I mean, would you start to lean that way? That's kind of how I'm starting to feel.
Christian, I agree with you 100%. I think Miami is going nowhere. What they did, what they did last year alone, they didn't really spend too much on their quarterbacks and their position players. So now that, Jeremiah Smith is mentioning that, kind of hinting at it with his hometown that, hey, like, I'm saying it, but I'm not saying it with Miami being involved with it. So, yeah, I've known that Miami has had that collateral. They've had the money in the back end. South Florida, very lucrative, and, with real estate, very lucrative when it comes to, like, with boats and stuff like that. So I'm not surprised that they're in the running with universities like Texas A&M, Oregon. USC is kind of getting back in the running of things. If I'm Alabama, when is enough enough? They're going to run out of money at this point because, and you mentioned it with Ryan Williams. He might want a little bit more because I would imagine he sees himself in that limelight, like Jeremiah Smith and so many other great wide receivers that are earning a bag. So when is it time for Alabama to either pony up or get this executive order really in order quickly? Because I promise you, other teams are gonna have to match this, and they will. It's just I wonder which schools will do that.
You know, and to be clear, because I know everybody sometimes it gets all jumbled together. I mean, revenue share is completely different than NIL and the collectives and all that stuff, and that's how teams are able to go over. Because remember, the revenue share cap is a thing, right? Like we have a revenue share, and there's only so much money, right? It was like $20.5 million. And I know it's supposed to gradually go up and increase over the years, but these schools are still using collectives. But my thing is, the executive order sounds great. Like I totally understand everything they put in there. I thought they hit on just about everything that I thought was necessary. But my issue is, how do you stop? What is the true, I guess, factor that's going to stop the collectives from being able to pay money to these guys via quote unquote NIL? Like how it, because remember, they have like the NIL go thing, and you got to pass these deals through that. But I mean, just like somebody said, and I hate to admit that this is true, but just like they mentioned, back in the day, all of that stuff was illegal, but you saw it happening. It's going to be no different. So it just makes. I think what I'm trying to say is I'm starting to just lose faith that even with the whole executive order, man, like I just don't think you'll forever be able to truly just stop people from pouring extra money in. Even when there's a cap, man, people are always going to find a way to bend and navigate around the rules. I mean, it is what it is. But just to kind of put a bow on this whole conversation, and I'll read some of y'all's comments during the break. The article does go on to say that he mentioned, over $10 million, and as soon as even the national championship ended his freshman year, teams were calling his agent, offering him all types of money. He obviously stayed put last season. And as you can imagine, the money and the offers continued to increase, and none of that was going anywhere. But he basically went on to talk about that he's got a good group of teammates there. He wants to continue to build off of the legacy up there at Ohio State, and he really enjoys it up there. And I will say I do respect anybody that turns down some crazy lucrative offer like that. I do respect it because, listen, I mean, that is intriguing. Like, hey, you can come home and earn X amount of money. Let's not get it twisted. Allegedly, the number that he's seeing right now is around like $4 million. So if in fact it was $10 million by 2 years, and that's really just 5 a year, I mean, if we're talking about it's like a $1 million difference just to stay put, and he likes where he's at, and he's going to be going to the league soon anyways, I don't think it's that drastic of a difference. However, the article does go on to say that 2 different NFL scouts, in fact, told On3 that Smith would have been a solid number 1 overall on their draft boards had he had been eligible for this draft. Not even the next year's draft when he actually is eligible. For this year's draft, he would have been in strong consideration of being the number 1 draft pick just after his freshman season alone. So, I mean, that's the type of prospect we're talking about here. So, I mean, I get it. He's a special player, but, I mean, it just sounds like we are just climbing fast. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we'll start talking some Alabama football, a number of other things that have been going on around the college athletics world. But we'll definitely start recapping spring ball, kind of some of the things that we've learned after hearing from various players, after seeing and hearing about the scrimmages, after hearing from Coach DeBoer. He spoke on, hey, Coach, we got some of that we can pull up and listen to. He discussed a number of things as well. So we'll do all that on the other side right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
Listen hourly for Tuscaloosa Thread local news updates powered by Tuscaloosa Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Tuscaloosa's destination.
DeBoo, what's up? Roll Tide, man. People shouldn't be shocked if Ryan has a better Rodgers has a better year than Ryan. Oh man, so we're throwing out takes like that. All right. I hate to say it like this, but I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked. I don't think anybody really should be, to be fair. I mean, you saw last season. I mean, one could argue. I mean, it depends on what you go off of it. And again, I'll be clear. I'm not one to say make it seem like Ryan had some awful year last year, because he didn't. Now, to his standard, it was not good. To what, compared to the expectations, wasn't good. But if you really pull up his numbers, I think some people probably go a little bit too far with it. I want to say he still went for, was it like 800 yards last season? If I'm not mistaken, he had 689, 4 receiving touchdowns. I want to say he was the second leading receiver on the team last year. And granted, he missed a game or missed some time. We all know he had, played more in the slot, a little bit different of a position. I mean, there's a lot of factors to consider. I'm not going to make excuses. I mean, drops were an issue, without a doubt. Consistency was an issue. I mean, just watching the tape, and again, I could be wrong, but just sometimes it didn't always look like, that same level of effort that you would maybe expect or that you might have seen out of some other guys was always there. Could have been injuries, could have been nagging things, could have been a little bit of a mentality thing. I also know sometimes frustrations grow when you kind of see how you're being used or utilized. And I think there's a number of things that you probably should include when you look at it. But to J Money's point, I don't think it should be like a shocker if you see a guy. You mentioned Rodgers. I mean, like Latsier Brooks, I could totally see maybe being the lead receiver, just knowing he also has special playmaking ability, not just with the acrobatic catches, but I've seen the stuff that this guy can do, after the catch, especially in practice. I know one of our callers or listeners mentioned that one time. They're like, they want to see somebody step up that has that type of ability, that after the catch ability. And I was saying, like, you might not have seen it a whole bunch out of Latsier. Maybe you saw it more than I'm thinking of, but just know, I mean, he has that. I mean, Latsier Brooks can do all that. No Rodgers with his consistency, I mean, he could end up being similar to or having a role similar to like Jeremy Bernard. So I'm trying to find my chapstick, man. It's like lost in my pocket. He could have a similar role to Jeremy Bernard in terms of being that consistent weapon on the outside. And I can see a world where something like that happens, but I'm expecting big things out of Ryan. I mean, scrimmage number 1, he definitely returned to form. He definitely had that X factor feel to him. The plays that he was making. I mean, he looked every bit of the Ryan Williams that we all grew to expect would be, coming to Tuscaloosa out of South Alabama. I mean, scrimmage number 1, he was making those types of plays. I mean, you guys saw it. I mean, it was on all the clips that guy was posting. Goodness gracious, man, I give up on this. Scrimmage number 2 was a little bit more quiet. But nonetheless, it wasn't like quiet as if like he just had a bunch of like bad drops or nothing like that. And guys are playing some good defense. I remember a couple plays like that, but just a little bit more quiet in terms of production. But I truly believe that I think he's going to have a really solid year. Is he going to be a Jeremiah Smith type season? We're talking about, he's neck and neck for the Biletnikoff at the end of the year. I don't know. I hope so. Not just for this team. I want it for him, man. He's a good kid. And I do feel like he gets a lot, man. Like anything he does is like subject to being scrutinized. And I honestly feel bad for him at this point. I mean, I've seen it. He posted TikTok and is plastered all over X by like, like the pages that cover like rap and hip hop and stuff, man. I'm like, damn, this dude can't catch a break, but I think he's going to be all right. And welcome back into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, tied 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Got a fun little start to the show today, man. We're talking about this whole Jeremiah Smith deal, but it's been leading to a number of conversations and topics, and we're kind of just letting it roll, man. So I'm enjoying this. I know we got Smitty on the phone lines. We're going to go to him here in a second, but I noticed, there's been a lot of talk in the comments about Ryan Williams and kind of, what to expect out of him this upcoming season. I know J Money made a point that said, I mean, he wouldn't be shocked if a guy like Noah Rodgers ended up having a better season this upcoming year compared to a guy like Ryan, which, I just was saying, listen, I think there's so many factors here, but if you look at Ryan's season last year, to be fair, I mean, for all the, the scrutiny that he gets, all the criticism, I mean, if you really pull up his numbers, it wasn't as bad as a lot of people kind of allude to. I mean, we all know, yes, there's an issue with drops. We all know, yes, consistency was a problem. But I just want to remind people, I mean, you're talking about a guy that he missed a game or so. He had that concussion. He came back. I mean, there's no telling if he really was like 100% for sure. I know you're supposed to be with concussions, but let's just call a spade a spade. Guys are always going to do everything they can to get back on the field. They had him working in the slot, which was definitely different for him than what he, had seen his first year, playing a little bit more on the outside. but he still finished with 689 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then even you should include, was it Auburn? I don't think he was targeted at all. And was it maybe Missouri? I don't think they really looked his way much either, right? So, I mean, I'm not making excuses, right? You guys know us. We're honest on this show. We'll call a spade a spade. And that would be, yes, he did not have a great season last year, especially to his standards. To other people's standards, it's pretty solid. To his standard, no. But I do think he's going to have a bounce back year this year. I mean, scrimmage number one, man, he looked like the guy that we all thought we would see, come to Tuscaloosa out of South Alabama that, was breaking all those records and doing all those amazing things. And remind you, this guy is also a young player. You know what I mean? He reclassed, so he's still young, man. And I truly believe it. A lot of it probably, yes, some fundamental stuff he needs to clean up. And we talked about, I think, route running he could clean up as well. But in terms of the athlete that he is, man, if he can kind of get over that hump of maybe a little bit of a lack of confidence, right, with some of those drops, fix some of the fundamentals. I know he does tend to be more of a body catcher, but I just truly believe, man, with the right work, put in this offseason and working with the right people, and who knows, he got a new wide receivers coach. Maybe that helps his development. I think he's going to have a good, solid third year. Now, I don't know if it's going to be Jeremiah Smith-esque or at least like that type of deal, but I think it'll be better than what we saw last season. 205-342-9904. Let's go to the phone lines. We got Smitty up first. Smitty, welcome in.
Christian, how's it going today, good brother?
Man, it's going great, man. How's everything?
Good. Every day above ground is a great day. That's my motto. Here's the thing about this whole executive order thing, right? I want to chime in on this. To me, the money isn't the problem. It's immediate eligibility after he transferred multiple times is the problem. For example, Darian Mensa, Miami gave him like $8 million, paid for his sister to go to school there, got him a crib and all that. Same thing Nick Saban told Javion Cohen to kick rocks about. I still would love to be a fly on that wall when he told Nick Saban he wanted him to pay for his girlfriend's law school. I would love to be in the room on that one.
He was tripping on that. Wrong coach to ask that, man. I mean, I'm sure there might be some other coaches that may, if they want you bad enough, make something shake, but Coach Saban? Oh no, brother, you're dead in the water before you walked in that room.
And here's the thing, right? Mensa already transferred from Tulane to still great. Miami would not have done all this if he had to sit out a year, because that would have been stupid. That would have been financially irresponsible. So that's the issue. It's not even the money, because the money takes care of itself. And I know people are going to say, what about coaches? Let's use Kalen DeBoer as an example. What job is he going to leave Alabama for that's not the NFL? He's good. Or like Ryan Day. And those guys, we know these coaches start off from the bottom, work their way up. Because Nick Saban did not make his first million until he got to LSU. And I think he started coaching like in the early 70s. So, if you fire a coach, you have to pay a buyout. If the coach leaves, he has to pay the school a buyout. And I just think that people want chaos, but if the pro leagues can have rules, why can't college? It's no longer pressing kids, because you also need rules to protect the players. Because like some coaches may say, hey, we may get this guy in, we'll let you go, or you're not producing enough, you'll take a pay cut. If you had rules, you can't do the pay cut, like you do in pro sports. I just think that if you fix the eligibility, and it's like, here's the other thing people miss. I think basketball is a different animal than football, but because basketball, they have crazier transfer numbers than football. We're being real here. They have crazier numbers. I think half the sport is in the portal, but I think because we won't know this number till 5-6 years from now. Who's graduating when you transfer multiple times? And then when it comes to Jeremiah Smith, I ain't put in the chat. Miami did not make the national title game because they had the best receiver core. They had a good receiver core. They made it because they had good offensive defensive line who developed over the years. And you look at the NFL. When the last time a Super Bowl champion came from the team that had the best receiver in football? For $5 million for 1 year, I could get a tackle and a pass rusher for that, depending, how you work things out.
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
rather pay for that because you just need good receivers. You don't need the best receiver to win. You got to have those trenches right in a good quarterback. And I think that
1,000%.
people, and my last thing is this on Miami, right? Yes, they got money. You know, they got the boats, they got the beaches, they got the cars, the real estate, and the white girls. They got all that to offer you, right?
Hold on, wait. Wait, so did he get too eager right there, Chase? Or maybe hold on, Chase, you might hit that button. It's I think the call dropped. There you go. Thank you. Either he got too eager right there and accidentally dropped the call, or maybe
hey,
there it goes.
Hey, I'll sound like your dad for a second. Sorry, I'm getting on the roll like your pops.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait. I'm like, who cut him off? I was like, I didn't think he said nothing that crazy. Now he was getting off his rocker, but go ahead. You're not wrong. Go ahead.
Hey, that's another reason why I'm surprised Arizona State ain't good at sports like that. If you've been to Scottsdale, y'all know. But but the thing is, it's the eligibility, and I'm cool with 5 to play 5. We don't need guys playing 8 years in college football. You know, if you get hurt, I'm sorry. Those are the breaks. And I just think you fix this eligibility thing where maybe you have to sit out a year. So be it. Because maybe if your coach leaves, be strategic. And I just think that it will protect the players as well, Christian.
Yeah, 100%. Well, here's the thing, though. When you mention you would rather spend $5 million on a tackle and a pass rusher, which listen, if I was a GM, whether it be in college now that we have GMs, kind of crazy to think about, but that's where we're at, or in the NFL, my philosophy would be the same thing. We're going to invest heavily in the trenches, right? I want good pass rushers. We know how important that is to affect the quarterback. We need guys that can get push up front, help our run game, and of course, protect our quarterback. Then I'm going to find me some nice weapons. I mean, you look at the receivers that Tom Brady was working with, not to take anything from them. I mean, they're good players, but that was kind of New England's philosophy in their game plan. I mean, they invested heavily, always had really good defense. We know that. Typically had some really good offensive linemen. We know the quarterback was phenomenal. Their wide receivers were really good players, especially in that system, but I wouldn't say they had a whole bunch of Jeremiah Smiths in their wide receiver core. But that said, you mentioned you would rather. Here's the problem, Smitty. Without there being anything to really clean this whole thing up, I don't think teams are really thinking, oh, we would rather. Miami's still going to buy a quarterback and go buy themselves a wide receiver and also still have good trench play because right now nobody's following the true cap. And that's exactly why we need a cap, because it should be we would rather, right? That should be the equation. We would rather, or we need to put this here instead of. That those should be the words coming out. But right now it's really, hey, if you're Miami, if you're Oregon, if you're now, I guess, Indiana with Mark Cuban's backing, not so much of we would rather or we need to do this instead. It's more so, why not do both? If we got somebody that's going to cut the check. And so that's exactly why it needs to be cleaned up. Yeah, you're 100% right on that. But let me ask you this, though, because I'm curious your thoughts, because we brought this up yesterday. When they do, hopefully it's when, but when the whole executive order thing is passed and there's supposed to be some hard cap with the revenue share that teams must follow, do you feel like a team like Alabama is going to be in trouble, given the fact that they have a very competitive basketball team that we know is going to need some reinforcements, several guys hitting the portal we know to recruit at a high rate and to get good players. And you just mentioned it, basketball is a different beast. I mean, those dudes aren't cheap. We're talking about a few million per player with some of these guys. And we want to get past. Listen, we're all happy about the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eights we've seen out of Coach Oates and the championships in the conference. And I'm not saying that we're complacent like that. That's, trust me, I would take that over what I had when I was in school here. But we know people want to see the next step, and that's going to cost money. Alabama football, that's not going anywhere, Smitty. We got to put a lot of money right there. How do you think a team like a school like Alabama is going to handle this, knowing that you got two really good programs that both are competitive?
Easy. I tell you, it's easy, right? And I'll start with this.
When it comes to football, please tell me.
I tell you why, because it's choices, right? You got to make choices. And I'm going with it. First thing first, when it comes to football, the boosters kind of stop thinking of script. They trust money and playing time. Sorry. It was trending that way to save that the end, that Rose Bowl when they wanted their money. But here's the thing, right? Some sports may end up having to become club sports, like some of your other Olympic type sports and everything. And that's a choice you may have to make. With basketball, you got to be. It depends on what it is, what your expectations are. I just want to get in the dance and see what happens. Because Kentucky spent $20 million and they flamed out big time. And so I think you have. This is, to me, it's not just throwing money. You have to be able to evaluate talent as well.
True.
And you have to be able to make tough choices with certain sports on your campus. Which one's going to be club? Which one's going to get some money? Things of that sort. And you have to cut out worrying about building a new smoothie machine and put that money into players. But the issue is, Chris, at the end of the day, is that we're not even talking about rev share. We're talking about the collectives. You're still asking fans and boosters to foot the bill. That should be the responsibility of the school and the conference. Because what happens is something like here, gas is $5 a gallon, and you may have to make some cuts, or you may have an economic downturn. I'm not getting political, I'm just speaking facts here. I'm not, where you may get laid off or you get sick or anything like that. You may not be able to get that $20, or price of oil goes up. These oil boosters in Texas may be like, hey, no, hold on now. They just get a little pricey plus. And see, here's the other thing. With rules, right? In the NFL with collective bargaining, the salary cap incrementally goes up every year. When Ohio State won, they were $20 million. Now in just 2 seasons, we're at $40 million. I don't care how much money you have. You can't keep it up when you're getting no return on investment but 5. And if you don't win, that's so you see the pressure Sark is under right now. They got all the money in the world. That's something where I think rules will actually help coaches as well. And like I said, I think that you're going to have to make tough choices in some of these other sports that aren't drawing, that you may have to make them into a club sport, because you also got to remember Title IX as well. That's another sticking point. And I'll say this and I'll get out of here, land my plane. I don't know what this executive order will hold up, but the problem is the one thing people miss is that federal funding part. Those school presidents ain't going to risk federal funding from the government for Darian Mensah or like Dylan Raiola or the third string left tackle. They can play right now. It ain't going to work that way. They ain't messing up that funding. And I just think that you have, but the main thing is, Chris, you have to collectively bargain. And people may worry about these players going on strike. If you only got 5 years to play 5, you ain't going on strike for too long. Just being real.
Sure.
It will also help with agents. In pro sports, agents ain't taking 20, 30%. They're getting 3%. And that's protection also. And these agents are certified. Not the homeboy, not the guys that boys in the back say you're getting $20 million a year. No, these are real people, real structure. And I really believe structure will protect these kids from shady agents that if the coach want to move on, hey, you got to pay me my money. Like in the NFL, they let you go. They still got to pay out some of your contract if you got cap money still. So I just think that you have to come up with rules and everything and collectively bargain with these kids and have some structure there, and you can protect the players as well. So, hey, you have a good one, Christian.
Absolutely, Smitty. I appreciate you too, brother. Yeah, no, I think that all that probably is coming as they continue to make a number of these changes that allegedly should be here pretty soon. We got to hit a timeout. We come back. We wrap up hour number 1. Then we'll hit this top of the hour break, and we will finally dive into some Alabama football talk, things that we've learned so far through the spring portion of practice so far. We will hit all that when we come back after this quick timeout. You're listening to the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Coming up on
Chase must be back there damn shooting the shit. I'm like, y'all listening back there? Oh, the Wilkin thing. Hold on, I had that pulled up. Let's hit that during the break because I did just say we're going to get into Alabama football. I know they're probably like, dang, when are we going to talk football? Or Alabama football, I should say. Oh, yeah, thank you, Dwight. Dwight just shared this. SEC Media Day officially announced July 22nd from Tampa, Florida. So, looking forward to that. How long? We were 3 months away from that? May, June, July, 3 months. 3 and some change. So we got some time until then. We're working the dog days of summer, man. We'll definitely be grinding it out until then. But when SEC Media Day comes back around, that's when I feel like football is really kind of getting into the thick of it. Because you're right around the corner from training camp. Oh, it looks like Coach DeBoer was on the next round today. We can discuss some of those comments as well. He talked about the quarterbacks I'm seeing. Yeah, let me pull up this Wilkin thing real quick. Well, it wasn't bad at all, but I just know everybody's been anytime a former player speaks to the media and kind of mentions Alabama, people always are kind of dissecting what they say. Hold on, this is what he said.
Playing for Alabama, you would kind of watch different teams while you're watching film. We would play similar teams that A&M would play, and I would see their offensive line getting after people. And so I had to make a decision that's best for me, where I'm going to develop the most. And I feel like Coach Cush has done a great job. His track record speaks for itself as far as developing players. And so I needed to take a next step in my game, and I feel like coming here is really going to do that. I didn't really want to, but I knew that this was right. And I had a lot of reasons to stay, but there was also a lot of good reasons to leave. So it was a tough decision, but I graduated from Alabama. I started there for a couple of years, and it's a special place to me, and it's always going to be a special place to me. And I didn't want to leave with any bad blood or burn any bridges. I still got a good relationship with everybody there, and so that was big for me, not burning those bridges, because I love those people. But this is what's my chapter. This is the next chapter for me. So this is what I had to do.
I have no problem with that. I think it's a very mature response. I'll be honest, just like when you guys heard me talk about, James Smith, everybody was kind of crying about that. And I guess he's got a big bullseye on him just because he transferred. But again, when you kind of know what actually has gone on behind the scenes, I mean, James Smith nor Quay Rousseau are villains at all, like people like to make them seem. Anyway, I just heard, he just feels a little bit more confident in, a place like A&M for his development. He has every right to feel like that. To be fair, the coach that he had the past couple of years also just got fired. So, if anybody's trying to disagree with what he just said in that sense, I think you're kind of probably lying to yourself. End up moving on from the guy that he had, and I got to go look at. He mentioned the track record for his new coach. I'm not exactly sure. I feel like. Let me see. Let me pull it up real quick. But at least for the school itself, A&M's had some good offensive linemen come out of their program. So regardless, man, wish them the best. Like I do everybody. You'll never hear me talk bad about guys that leave. The worst thing I've ever said, and it wasn't even bad, it just was, I hate that guys like Bond or even was a tight end, what's his name? Drawing a blank, but I hate that they left, knowing that I feel like they probably could have been better off just staying here. But you'll never hear me talk down on any of these guys that leave. I respect their decisions. It's a business. That's what comes with it. And I think he'll probably be a solid player for Texas A&M. I truly do, man. I think they'll probably coach him up well. He's a vet, a guy that's played a number of snaps in SEC ball. And like he mentioned, I respect him. He said he wanted to do it the right way, knowing how, special this place was. We all know he's from here, has a bunch of family and relationships. So I respect him, man. I wish him luck. Now, obviously, when we play Texas A&M, I hope we get after those guys. But yeah, if anybody wants to argue about, I didn't realize we're back. Sorry, hold on. And welcome back into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, time 100.9, 1230, WTBC. We just heard a quick clip real quick because we got to hit this top of the hour break. I don't know. We got about a minute. We might as well play it real quick anyways. Wilkin Formie, former Alabama offensive lineman, transferred to Texas A&M this offseason. Well, he spoke to the media after one of their practices, I believe this week. And this is what he had to say in regards to why he decided to transfer to Texas A&M.
Playing for Alabama, you would kind of watch different teams while you're watching film. We would play similar teams that A&M would play, and I would see their offensive line getting after people. And so I had to make a decision that's best for me, where I'm going to develop the most. And I feel like Coach Cush has done a great job. His track record speaks for itself as far as developing players. And so I needed to take a next step in my game, and I feel like coming here is really going to do that. I didn't really want to, but I knew that this was right. And I had a lot of reasons to stay, but there was also a lot of good reasons to leave. So it was a tough decision, but I graduated from Alabama. I started there for a couple of years, and it's a special place to me, and it's always going to be a special place to me. And I didn't want to leave with any bad blood or burn any bridges. I still got a good relationship with everybody there, and so that was big for me, not burning those bridges, because I love those people. But this is what's my chapter. This is the next chapter for me, so this is what I had to do. Very mature response for Wilkin Formby, former Alabama offensive lineman. Said he felt like it was best for his career, his development, and didn't want to necessarily do it, but he wanted to do it the right way. Has a lot of love and respect for the people here. He is from Tuscaloosa, and it makes plenty of sense. But like I said earlier during the break, man, never going to wish any ill will on any guy that decides to leave. That's their life, their story, and ultimately they do what's best for them. And I always am a firm believer, man, Alabama will do what's best for them as well and bring in who they feel necessary will replace these guys. That said, we got to hit this top of the hour break. We come back, we dive into finally what we've learned from Alabama football over the course of spring practice. Plus, I mentioned, speaking of the top of the hour, Coach DeBoer will join us at the top of the hour on Monday of next week, and we'll get his recap on A-Day, what he thought of his program over the course of spring, all that good stuff. But he did speak to the next round earlier today, and I know we got a couple things we can dive into and discuss from that. So we'll do that on the other side right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
WTBC Tuscaloosa.
Latoya, what's up? Welcome in if you're just getting in here. Agent says go to where you can get developed. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, the ultimate goal is to be the best football player you can be. That way you have an opportunity to play at the next level. And let's just face it, Alabama's development in the trenches over the last couple of years hasn't necessarily been probably what you would expect it to be. That's just a fact. That's not to say you haven't had players like Tyler Booker, J.C. Latham, Caden Proctor, who's about to be a first-round pick. Like, Alabama still is producing NFL talent at the offensive line position. That is a fact. However, it is at a little bit of a different, I guess, whether you want to use the word rate, or it's just not as consistent in terms of, across the board. What it feels like is it's a little streaky. You've got one guy or two guys maybe every couple years that continue that trend, but really across the board, I mean, just don't see that same level of development. Even if you're not even judging it based off of where guys get drafted, if you just go off of kind of just how guys play the game. I mean, if you just turn on the tape, I mean, forget the NFL draft, just turn on the tape. I mean, you can see Alabama's offensive line has not necessarily been what one would expect it to be. So I'm with whoever said in the comments, like, I mean, the guy mentioned development. I know everybody likes to always paint these guys as villains and, it's got to be about money. But listen, I have no problem with what he said. He did it in a very respectful way. He just seemed to be very honest. He felt better about his development at another school. And the problem is I think a lot of Alabama fans don't like hearing some of this. I don't think people had as much to say about this, if anything at all. But even like with James Smith, I know people assumed the worst in what he said just because he said it felt like when Coach Saban just got here, everything seems intentional. Could he have been trying to take a subtle shot? I'm not going to be naive. But at the same time, the way I heard it was he just respects the grind that they have up there. He respects the way they do things. The way Coach Saban does things and runs his program is a little bit different than how Kalen DeBoer does it. Like, that's not a secret. Everybody knows that. Whether you're in the building or even out the building, everybody knows that. So when someone makes a comment saying, it feels a little bit more like what I had with Coach Saban, we've already established that it's different under Kalen DeBoer. Not saying, for good or bad, just saying the way they run it is different. And some people prefer one way or the other. Like, I don't know. You'll never find me talking bad about a guy that decides to leave. I'll just say that. But I respect his response. Now, I also know that they also did take care of him now. So, I mean, they took care of him, and he also feels like he's getting better development. So, can't beat that. Pay raise and better development, man. I don't know who would turn that down. So, like I said, I wish him the best at Texas A&M. I think he'll do a good job there. I do. But I am excited. Somebody mentioned Clem. I am excited to see Clem and how he can help these guys. I feel like Clem's going to be good for this group. That's not to say this offensive line is going to go be a what's it called? The award that they win. I'm drawing a blank. Joe Moore. I'm not saying they're going to go win the Joe Moore Award this season, but I do feel confident that a guy like Coach Clem can do a nice job coming in and helping with the development of these guys. After talking to J.C. Hassenauer and a couple other folks, I mean, that's just kind of what it seems like. He does a really good job with teaching, coaching his guys up, trying to get the most out of them. So I am excited about that. Y'all are wild, man. Y'all say some silly stuff in the chat, man. And welcome back into this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're going to shift gears a little bit, start talking some Alabama football, and really dive into what we plan on talking about today, which we still got a whole another hour to do so. What we've learned so far through, I don't know, it was like 11 spring practices so far. You got one more tomorrow, then you got 8A this weekend. I saw Jake comment early in the show that he was under the belief that there might be another practice remaining following 8A. Now, according to the schedule that I have, I was not aware of there being another practice. I mean, we've always ended things on 8A. I mean, I've never, to my knowledge, seen another practice after that, which 8A would make, it should make 13 total, right? Because you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, well, 14 total, excuse me. So maybe yesterday's practice was the 12th practice. I'm forgetting the numbers, man. It's kind of all over the place, but you get the point. So to answer Jake's question, I'm not 100% sure. That kind of threw me for a curveball. But, yeah, maybe he did say that in that interview. DeBoer said there's 2 after 8A. So they got 2 more practices after 8A. So 8A is the 13th. So maybe, okay, the count that I just had on that chart was wrong. So I guess you guys are right. There is another practice or 2 following 8A, which is kind of interesting, man. Thank you guys for that correction, because I was under the impression that 8A was everything. But now that means maybe I'll sneak up there. It's not sneak up there. I don't need to sneak up there, but maybe I'll make my way over there next week then if I got time and we can make it work to one of those practices, which it's a little bit different, Chase. Did you know that, Chase? I'll be honest, it's the first time I don't think they even did that last year, did they? Do you have any knowledge on that?
Not to my knowledge. I don't think they did that last year.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's something new, but I don't know. Kind of interesting. Regardless, we got 8A this Saturday, and we got a couple more practice next week. So there's no media availability for next week's practice. I do know that. Like, whatever they do next week at practice, that's just for them to get better as a football team. So I don't know if they plan on scrimmaging one more time to wrap up the spring. I don't know, man. I have to ask. I'll definitely have to ask. Regardless, speaking of next week, we will have Coach DeBoer on the show Monday, which leads me to believe they're thinking they'll probably go Tuesday and Thursday. Who knows? Alpha says I actually like a little practice after, so you can, I guess, get to the lessons that you learned on the field immediately after. Sorry, some of those typos you guys have, man, they've been throwing me off. But I guess that's a fair point, Chase. Normally what it would be was you have 8A. Like for us, we would have 8A. It would conclude. That would be like 8A was kind of like the putting a bow on the spring. And it really was kind of like, I call it a celebration, meaning like not like some big old celebration, but more so like you put on a show for the fans. They all get to come. And then we do the awards. They hand out the awards afterwards, like the spring awards right after. I want to say they handed out the awards, and then we get on the bus, go back to the complex, and everybody's families and stuff are there. And it's like, hey, that's signaling the end of spring. And then we know, hey, we got some workouts, we got to finish class, and then we're gearing up for our vacation pretty much, which is, several weeks during the month of May before we get back to the grind for the summer program. But it sounds like these guys, man, they're going to put on a show on Saturday and get right back to work. Might not be a bad idea. I get where you guys are coming from. I mean, if you think about it, you go practice during 8A, got to have a scrimmage in front of the fans, and then you still got 2 more practices to kind of come back and maybe correct some things, right? Especially if they treat it like a game somewhat, maybe not too serious. And I know they're still going to be limited. They're not going to put everything out there. But if you take that approach and then you come back the following week and you still have 2 more practices to kind of do corrections, you can always do walkthroughs, which is very common. I mean, they do walkthroughs even on non-practice days. That's normal. But to actually have true practice reps and opportunities to do corrections, I think that's kind of interesting. Maybe not a bad idea. We'll ask Coach DeBoer about that next week when he joins the show on Monday at the top of the hour. Speaking of him speaking to the media, he did join Hey Coach a couple days ago. And so I want to play a quick little snippet here. And I know we mentioned a couple guys. We'll listen to that here in a second. But let's just start here. This was head coach Kalen DeBoer joining Roger Hoover and Tyler Watts on Hey Coach.
They're, what I love about right now, what we're doing is just everything each and every day. It's just a steady, incline of what we're bringing and how we're getting better. Really, there's the highs, but the highs aren't so high where all of a sudden there's a drop off with the lows. And so every day isn't perfect, but these guys are bringing an attitude. They're bringing an effort. That's what I expect out of them. That's the ask that I have for them. That's the ask that I have for the staff.
And there's been a lot of turnover as well with your group ever since the Rose Bowl came to a close. What have you liked about some of the new guys that arrived in January?
They're excited. They're excited about the opportunity to get to Alabama, and they're really appreciative of the resources. They're appreciative of the staff, and I think they're appreciative of their teammates and how they've been accepted in. And a lot of that goes both ways, right? When you put the work forth that's expected in our program, you'll be accepted in, because our guys that are here, what do they want? They want to be successful. They want to have a great football team, a great football season this fall. And when you come in with the right attitude, put forth the effort, show that you got some accountability and discipline, the guys that were here, they'll open their arms and help show you the way and help teach you the things that you don't know.
So a lot's changed over the last several years in college football. One that's really stuck out with us former players is guys changing jersey numbers, and that continues to change. Have you or any of your coaches kind of caught yourself yelling at the wrong guy, thinking it was someone wearing last year's number?
I give some guys a hard time because some of the newcomers that come in are wearing guys that wore jerseys before, right? And those guys moved to different numbers. And I've said, man, that other guy wears their jersey a lot better than you used to. So, we've had some fun with that. But, those guys and sometimes it's, the number that they finally wanted to get back to, which was maybe their high school number or the number of a parent. And, sometimes there's more to it than what you think. You think they just want a jersey number to switch to a single digit, but sometimes it's in honor of family, friends, again, their high school number, whatever it might have been.
You talked about the buy-in being and the kind of the how they're continuing to progress. Is there any point, how does it take longer to kind of build that identity of a football team? Because I know you always want to improve on things that maybe you didn't do great last year. You want to be as well balanced on both sides of the ball as you possibly can. Is that something you as a coaching staff can force, or does it have to just organically kind of mature?
You have to be intentional. First of all, you're trying to reestablish what you want your program culture to be, and you can't take anything for granted when it comes to what the expectations are. And so, again, the coaching staff being very intentional on what it's supposed to look like. Our players that are around really kind of showing the way. We got to be, very clear on what's helped us win and where we've fallen short and why when we take a look at it. And it might be, over the course of and trends of what our program's done in the last 2 years and what we've been trying to get across to our guys. And then also just taking in what's been successful with the playoff teams, the teams that were successful, and why a team won a national championship, and why teams rise to the top. And there's a lot of times there's some reasons for that, right, that are consistent with the best teams in the country.
Just kind of curious what your thoughts are on spring training or spring practice in general. I know last year we weren't able to have a spring game. It was more of a organized structure there. Do you enjoy that, or do you kind of think that college football would be beneficial moving more to like an OTA type of
well, either way, we'd be out on the field coaching, and it just depends on when that timing is. I mean, this is what you're used to as a coach and at the college level. And so this is what, the routine, kind of the mindset and how to develop and build your team at this time of year. But, everything's evolving, everything's changing. As we figure out a portal window, maybe that someday is different than what it is. I'm not saying better because I don't know what is the best, and I know it's hard when some teams are playing. It's hard when you're playing and the portal window is right around the corner. It can be a distraction, for some guys, but, I'm open to evolving. There's always some way to do things better.
Years ago, I think 30, 40 years ago, they used to have former players would actually scrimmage the players.
Yeah.
Any chance me and you could get out there and take on these guys?
Not me. I know that, but I've seen some of the alumni that have gone through the program, and they're still in pretty good shape. So it'd be fun to see them out there. I think we'd probably draw a pretty good crowd if we put some of those guys out there that put the pads on and get after it. It'd be quite a spring game.
I don't know, Chase. He might be on something, man. Do I need to step out of retirement to throw on some pads one more time in Bryant-Denny Stadium, kind of go line up again? I'll give Jackson Lloyd some good looks now. You want him to get some work working off the edge, man. Him and Javen James, they'll have their day cut out for him, man. What does that sound like to you, Chase? You want to see me strap it back up? You never got to see me, in action in person, man. You've seen some clips, but what do you think, Chase?
Christian, that'd be so cool to see you play in person and give these newbies a run for their money, show them what Alabama football is about. But yeah,
man.
What would that be like for you to be back on the field? Just if you could kind of picture that, just the feel of the stadium, the feel of the fans, and getting that edge back, kind of Miller's edge, quote unquote, but just like that thrill you get running out of the stadium.
Oh man, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. I mean, I'll be honest with you. One of the hardest things of not playing anymore is really those specific moments, right? That you really think back on, and those memories that come to you that you no longer can really go have. You just have to cherish the moments that you had previously. And I remember the last time I walked out of that tunnel in Bryant-Denny Stadium, and I was, overcome with emotions just thinking about that. Like, man, I spent the last 5 years of my life walking through this tunnel, and it was, a very regular thing. It's just what I got used to. And granted, you only did it about 7 times a year, right? You only had about like 7 home games or so, but every time was special. And I remember the last time I did that thought stuck with me. I'm a very sentimental person, man. I'm one of those people that, man, I really cherish things and I appreciate them. And that definitely was special. And if I could have one more time to do that, even though it'd be totally different, it's not like I'm going out and competing on a weekly basis towards a common goal with my brothers beside me. Still would be really cool. But I'll be honest with you. I'm going to need Jeremy Giselle. I'm going to need Jeff Allen, all my folks in that athletic training room to make sure they got all the foam rollers, all the stretching possible. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I stay active. I work out. I mean, you guys can see the guns. I'll flex real quick on the stream. Now, I'm in good shape. Now, being in good shape from an aesthetic standpoint is completely different than football shape. So we are going to run this alumni game. They do the whole flag football thing with it. If we're going to actually get some pads on and do old school versus new school, you talk about trying to make some money for NIL. Could you imagine how much that would sell? I see Justin's in there. He said, like, get Ruben, Reggie, and Christian to get after it. Imagine if you took an alumni game and did something like that. Now, I don't know if you could line up former players versus current players, even though that would be kind of crazy. Granted, we did do that at one point. I did practice against Trent Richardson and JP coming back and playing some quarterback. I didn't even know that was within the rules, but of course, if it is, and Alabama has a chance to get an edge, they're going to do it. And for whatever reason, I don't even remember the whole reason behind it, man. I don't remember if it was like a lack of bodies or I don't know. I just know Coach Saban brought like Trent Richardson and John Parker Wilson back to practice. And I just remember seeing them run out there. And I'm like, I mean, are these dudes doing some type of photo shoot or what the hell are they doing in pads and the helmet and stuff? And I'm seeing them like warm up. I'm like, huh? Because I don't remember them really saying that. Maybe they did say in the meetings and I kind of checked out for a second. I don't know. Just remember seeing them on the practice field and we practiced against them. But my point is, if they could do something like that, I feel like that would raise so much money. I mean, who would not go pay to go watch Ruben, Reggie? I mean, I'm trying to think of some of these guys who are a little more on the retired side right now. I know Tony's still a free agent, but get Tony Brown back out there. who else? I don't think Rashawn's actively playing. We'll throw Rashawn in there. We need some safeties to work with. Who are some safeties? I think Eddie Jackson. I don't know if he officially retired, but I know he's. I don't think he's currently signed, and he's doing a podcast, so he could probably be a candidate to come and play safety. I mean, listen, we have a squad now because we're kind of getting at that point. If you think about it, we're about 10, 11 years removed from the 2015 national championship team, meaning a lot of these guys are slowly kind of, working themselves out. Not working. That's a bad way to put it. Not working themselves out of the league, but you get what I'm saying. They're reaching like that point of retirement. Every year that passes, there's more guys that I played with, or even some guys that came after, they're done with football, right? I mean, we're 10 plus years removed from the 2015 championship game. In another year, it will already be the 10-year anniversary of my 2017 championship team. That said, I mean, I just was texting with Ryan Anderson this morning. We'll get big Rhino out here. D-line wise, man, those dogs are still running, man. They're running strong. Ashawn, Deshaun Hand, John Allen, Jaron Reed, they're all still actively playing, so I don't think we could use them. But I don't know. I had to come up with something. Offensive line-wise, I think we got some good candidates for sure. There's a number of guys still doing some good things, but King Henry's still running the rock. Matter of fact, I'm trying to think running back-wise. I mean, Damian, I know he had the neck injury. We could probably get Damian out there. Vinny Sinceri, he's on the coaching staff. We could get him. I don't know. I could do this all day. I think that would be kind of it's not going to happen, but if it did, that would be wild. Oh, Ha-Ha is safety, of course. We don't have to go far to get Ha-Ha. He's right there. He's skipping a hop from the training room. Oh yeah. Before we hit this break, Chase, who do you think will win that game? Former players versus current players. Now, I just threw out some dudes, and we're not like old. I mean, I think the oldest we named would probably be like 33, 34-ish, which I mean, that's still, I mean, there's dudes still, letting it rip in the NFL at 34. Who you got, Chase? You got the group of the washed up 30-year-old Bama alumni, or you got the young bucks, man? Who you rolling with?
I hate saying old washed up because like that's just because
no, it's a joke. It's a joke. We're not really washed up, but we have to sell it. We have to do that, right? Because we have to kind of, it's like a sneak thing. They're gonna think we're washed up, and they realize, oh damn, these dudes aren't playing. They're not washed up at all. But yeah, the washed up. Who you think? Team washed up or the youth, man?
Man, give me team washed up. I think playing in the NFL in comparison to college football are two different stratospheres. I think the NFL prepared them just for the level of physicality, the level of endurance you've got to go through, and the mentality too. And I just feel like what you learn in college football and take it over to the NFL, it's crazy. That's why a lot of NFL athletes are one of the best athletes in the world, because they're able to endure that much pain, that much endurance, yelling, just like on a daily basis. And I feel like college football nowadays, it's a little sweet, little kind of like, you can leave when you want. Let's keep a spade. But yeah, give me washed up the whole 9 yards. Not a hitting too. Oh gosh, yeah, that's cool.
You know what? But I have to agree, and I was going to hit this, and I think the chat beat me to it. Now, third, fourth quarter, that was our whole slogan, especially during our era. They still do the whole fourth quarter thing. That didn't go anywhere. But that was like the heartbeat of our teams. Hear me out. The fourth quarter, I don't know if we still going to be able to hold our fingers up fourth quarter. Because listen, bro, like I said, I mean, football shape is totally different. I mean, I think Reggie might be pushing 300 at this point. I mean, brother, we listen, we're going to get him in that first half. Now, second half, man, we're going to have to make sure we get a good enough lead first half, I think, to be all right the second half. But there's some good names. I forgot, man, Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram's in great shape, man. We'll throw Mark Ingram in there. Julio, I forgot. Did he officially retire? I can't remember if he did officially, but he's assumed to be retired if he didn't officially do it. Bringing his ass back out there. I mean, man, that could get dangerous, man. That could get dangerous. All right, let's hit a break. We're way over, but I'm glad Tyler brought that up because that was a fun little, I don't know, little hypothetical. Maybe we'll see. Even if it's just flag football, maybe we could do like a OGs versus new school flag football. I know.
And Christian, totally even at this point too, bring Nick Saban back as the head coach. Why not?
Oh man, dude, think about how much it will raise, man. I know Morgan Wallen's in concert. I think that's part of the reason why they're adjusting this whole schedule. But man, you talk about raising some NIL dollars. Do a flag football, and they always do like the alumni flag football. but do it where you get like you know what I mean? Like the guys we were just talking about and either playing against each other, or I think if you did us versus like the current guys in flag football, that might sell some tickets, man. I don't know. You guys tell me. We'll talk a little bit more. Plus, we'll go to the phone lines on the other side, right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
If you have an unsightly crack on the walkway,
The jersey and the pads wouldn't be near as big as they used to be. They
That's
wouldn't.
right. Well, some guys.
That's funny. Speaking of the offensive line, a lot of changes. That's funny.
All right. We'll pick back up there in a minute. Flag football on SEC Network. I'm just saying, I think there's just something about the dynamic between like OGs versus the young bucks, man. They do the alumni flag football game, but it really consists of like guys from like all eras, which is good. I mean, everybody should be included, but I just think some of the names we just were throwing out there, I mean, that would probably be a big draw. Who wouldn't want to see Xavier Brown try to strap up Julio Jones in flag football? I would. I mean, man, maybe it's just me, but I damn sure I would want to see it. Grover, or is it Dontrell? He tagged us on Twitter. He said, I buy tickets to see the Bama 37U All-Stars. I guess it would be, listen, who would be probably pushed? I guess it'd probably be about a 35, 36-year-old on that team maybe, but 37U is wild. But he's not wrong. That's fair. Man, there'll be some good matchups, man. See Xavier strapped up on, I don't know, Julio or Amari Cooper. Somebody threw that one out there. Who else would be a good matchup? I don't know. I mean, I feel like it depends if it's flag or full go, but Alabama women's basketball team only has 2 players. Yeah, I saw that, man. It's unfortunate. It's just definitely a part of this whole deal when you get a new coach, even if it's a cool coach, which I don't know our new coach too well, meaning like I don't know. I think she was here at one point, but I will say just everything I heard from her with her press conference, and even just seeing, like, I randomly just had one of her Instagram posts pop up, and it was funny. Like, it was humorous. It was talking about when a player asked for 300 and you're kind of like respectfully wishing them well, and it had like a song she was referencing. Like, she seems like a really good coach, somebody that players would love to play for. She's very welcoming to the media. I saw Chase's interview or him asking her some questions, which is really good. Check out his stuff if you guys haven't. But yeah, unfortunately, man, it's part of it. Even with women's basketball, I mean, it doesn't matter the sport. It's gonna be a thing. But I think they'll be able to get some players in here, man. I mean, I don't see why people wouldn't necessarily want to come play here. I feel like, Alabama women's basketball has done some pretty good stuff as of recently, and I can't speak on like all the resources they have specifically because I'm not sure how it differs too much. I know they're building the new basketball training facility. I'm assuming it probably will include women's basketball as well. So, excuse me, Fernando Bryan and Curtis Brown. Those might be older players, maybe. I'm not gonna lie, they don't ring a bell off the top of my head. Yeah, she seems like a cool coach. I'm sorry, but today's players are more fast and physical. You will get creamed. Whoa, let's change that wording there. Listen, if you think today's players are more physical, maybe you left off a word there because you did say physically. I'm gonna tell you right now, those players, and this is not a shot at our young players. I mean, we got some dudes that I think do some good stuff. But if you're trying to tell me that you think these current players are more physical than guys like Reuben Foster, Reggie Ragland, hell, Rashawn Evans, Sean Deion Hamilton. I mean, you're talking about guys like, I mean, come on, man. The backs that we play, I mean, you're talking about Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson, Derrick Henry. I mean, come on, man. I don't know. If you're saying they're faster because they're younger, Maybe. Yeah, Ramon might be about 18 years old with that comment. Now, I'll give you that. They're going to be faster than us because they're younger. I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you, man, shoot. I mean, I feel like I'm still pretty quick. I can run. Whoops. But if you're talking about these dudes that are doing it and training every single day, yeah, I mean, I'll give them that edge. You're talking about a 33-year-old version of the players we're mentioning versus the 18-year-olds we're going to be going against. Listen, if you want to give them a speed edge, I'm not really going to disagree with that. But you can't, there's no way you truly believe that they're more physical. Unless you're just saying right now because the guys are older. Hopefully that's what you mean. There ain't no way in hell you truly believe that those guys currently are more physical than some of the guys we just named. Big difference between seasoned and unseasoned. Go head to head with Aisha. I mean, yeah, come on. Ramon, come on, man. And you're in here regularly, man. So, I'm gonna give you some grace, but brother, come on, man. And welcome back into this Wednesday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Rolando McClain just got mentioned in the chat. You were absolutely right. He is definitely on. That's the other thing, Chase. How are we going to pick this team? This OG team. I mean, there's so much talent. Like, I don't even really know who exactly we're even going to. I mean, we're going to have to probably leave some guys out. Hell, I might even get left out on this thing. We're being honest here. I mean, think about all the talent. Now, some of the really good talent that has come through here recently, like the Will Anderson's, right? I mean, he's still playing, so he's not included. But I'm just saying, I mean, you talk about Ryan Anderson, Tim Williams. I mean, Anthony's still playing, so he wouldn't be included here. Terrell, he's not actively on a team, but there's a lot of talent, man. So we probably would have to definitely have some reserves for sure, but who knows, man. Anyway, let's go to the phone lines if Carson's still hanging out there. 205-342-9904. Carson, you still with us?
Yeah, buddy. I'm still here. I'm listening.
There he is. What do you think about this whole conversation, man? Ramon just threw a curveball. He said the Young Bucks are going to be faster. And he said more. He said he used the word physically, so maybe he meant physically prepared, physically equipped,
shape, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe he didn't finish the sentence, but I just took it as more physical. And I mean, my drawbout dropped on the floor. I'm like, brother, we just mentioned some dudes, man. I mean, even this Ruben's name alone, Mike. I mean, like, that's kind of crazy, man.
I look, you still think you got a little stick and stab in your bag?
Do I? Come on, man. Listen, I'll go tap this glass behind me and pull out this jersey and just to show you, man. I got the helmet. The helmet is wide open. That's no problem. And actually, I got plenty of jerseys. I don't even need to break the glass on that one. But if I needed to, in a hurry, go strap it up. Matter of fact, I have a bag somewhere behind me. It's got bands in it. Oh, listen. If I get a good stretch day in, I go sit in the training room. I get them to rub my hamstrings real good. I get a nice stretch. Get in the tubs before, like I used to do before practice. Oh, man, I got a stab club. I got a chop dip rip. Now, I don't know if my groins can handle it, but I got a chop spin in me. As a matter of fact, I just saw some teach tape. I was going back and watching some of our stuff, man. They used me on some teach tape with my chop spin. It might be a little dangerous with the groins that I have because I did have sports hernia surgery. So they've got to be careful with that one. Oh, but I got a stab club and a chop rip. Easy.
You look, well, I mean, you get out in the yard a couple days, and I think you can probably convert speed to power still. I mean, I know it wasn't really your biggest skill set, but I know the long arms, you still got the go-go gadget arms.
Yeah. No, listen, now the speed to power was not my thing until my senior year. I finally learned how to use, my long arm as my speed to power move. And that, I'm not going to lie to you. It's a deceptive tactic, right? You sell speed, I ain't got to be the biggest, strongest guy because I'm going to use my speed, right? We know Newton's law. Yeah. It's speed. When you have more speed with the guy and he's light on his feet, I ain't got to be bigger, stronger than him. I lift him off his feet like he caught the Holy Ghost. It's all about technique.
Yeah, deception too. You selling speed, and then they ain't ready for it. They're preparing for speed, and then you just hit them one good time, and then it's over with. You're at the quarterback. So
that's right.
I mean, Yeah, I tell you, if you give, it sounds like those comic book arguments where it's like Goku versus Superman, and it's like, well, or Batman versus Superman if he had a month to prepare or something like that. But I think I'll take the OGs. I will, because it's not like these guys, like some of these guys are still waiting on phone calls. You know what I'm saying? Like some of these guys are still like they're in league shape. Not all of them, but like there's a handful of those guys who could strap them up. They get one phone call for the right number, and they're going to play in the NFL. You know, so I mean, yeah, if you have like a month to get maybe not even in complete game shape, because I don't know if a month would actually do it. I don't know, but I think just getting acclimated again, I'll take the old guys for sure. Like, yeah, I don't know.
And listen, it all depends on how we prep. Because I'll be honest with you now, we need our guys to lock in. Because if they don't, and we just show up not prepared physically, mentally, ready to go all 4 quarters,
right.
man, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. That could be a clear disadvantage. Somebody had a good point. We probably gonna be breathing like some fish out of water if we're not ready. But no, I think listen, I think at the least it's gonna sell some tickets. We're gonna raise some money though.
Oh my goodness, it'd be the best thing on TV, especially if it was televised. I mean, that'd be crazy. But you're absolutely right. It would be a fire hazard for how many oxygen tanks would be on that sideline. I guarantee it.
Probably so. You ain't lying about that.
I just know how it is. I didn't play Division I football, and once you hit 30, I mean, it definitely isn't down. I mean, it isn't uphill. Like you ain't still ascending. I mean, you definitely got some mileage on you, and that's no matter what, especially all the bumps and bruises and the physical wear and tear of already playing and then coming back to it. I mean, I know it wouldn't be easy, but I think I'll take the experience, the seasoned guys. You know, I don't know. That'd be fun. I'd pay a lot of money to watch that.
Oh yeah, as I think a lot of people would too, man. I think we could come up with something for sure. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll go get in Yay Alabama's ear and say, hey, I know we do like some alumni stuff and it's great, but maybe we need to up the ante. Maybe we need to go recruit some of these dudes, like you were mentioning, that are kind of on the cusp of retiring. They still kind of got that phone handy. And you set an event up with those guys and maybe include some current guys. There are going to be some butts in those seats. I can guarantee that.
Yeah, I mean, the guys who are like 1 foot in the league, 1 foot out, those are your 5 stars. And then the guys who are out of the game, but they're still they used to do it. Those are like your 3-star guys. Those are your guys who it's like diamond in the rough. It's like, hey, if he comes in shape, you know, and he's ready to go, like you might have found a diamond in the rough. Like he might surprise some people with the physicality he's bringing.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. That'd be funny. But I did want to ask you, after being up there at camp and seeing some stuff and seeing the scrimmage, how did the communication look with new position coaches? Did you pick up on it at all? I know you might have saw some drills and saw the way that they were competing, but did the communication seem more concise, or were you able to tell, or just the language they were using, how they were training up guys in between snaps, talking to them and stuff? Did it seem like there was a visible difference between maybe last year and this year?
That's a good question. If I'm being frank, I mean, I didn't focus too much on it. Like it was probably more so me kind of observing it, almost like out my peripheral. Like I'm more focused on the guys, but kind of hearing kind of the communication between the, you know what I mean? But just going off of that, no, I mean, I like the new tight ends coach. I feel like he brings a different gear to him, which is expected. He's a former tight end himself, but coached offensive line, also coached tight ends. And you always know guys that coach offensive line, you got to have fire. I've never been around an offensive line coach that has been, you know, laid back, calm demeanored. You know what I mean? So bringing that element to the tight end room, bringing a guy like Josh Ford along, and then you having guys like Caleb Edwards, Marshall Pritchett, who they need that type of, you know, improvement to their game. You know, blocking in the run game is important to their development. I like that. I like that a lot. I think Clem kind of also has brought that with the offensive line. Now, I mean, don't get it wrong. I mean, Cap yelled at guys and got on them, but he also, he did it, his way. I just think what Clem brings is not only, a lot of passion with the position. He played at the highest level, played on multiple Super Bowl teams. But I just think the way that he can connect with the guys just feels a little bit better. I hate to say better like that, but it just, I mean, you're talking about a former player, a guy that played the position. Guys are going to respond a little bit different. And I'm not saying only because he's a former player, but that works in his favor. If I had a coach that played outside backer in the NFL, it's easier for me to listen and understand. I'm going to respect and listen to anybody because, they're my superior, right? They're my coach. But I'm not second guessing like, man, like, does he really know what he's talking about? Because I hate to say like that, but there's sometimes as a player, you kind of, you don't always buy into exactly what someone's telling you if you don't really trust them, whether that being they're new, have they done it before at a high level, whether it's coaching or playing. And I just think, those two guys I just mentioned that are new, I like what they bring to the table in terms of the teaching, the coaching style. And I think it can be very beneficial for this football team.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I mean, I'm really excited for the season. I wanted to respond to somebody in the chat. I know that they said, I saw a comment and it was like, well, DeBoer's just a skill guy. He likes the receivers and he likes the running backs and the quarterbacks and all of that stuff. And I'm like, on one hand, I could see how somebody would look at him and I understand the sentiment of what they're saying. But my thing is like, man, he's addressing all of the things that we struggled at. Like, man, you're bringing Clem in. Like, our biggest weakness was the offensive line and our running game. Well, what do? We go and address it. We're trying to. I really like the direction. I don't know if this season, like I said last week, I don't know if this season we'll see it come to full fruition. I don't know. There's just a lot of development that needs to happen in a short amount of time. I'm hopeful that it can happen, but I think we're taking the right steps, and I'm hoping that we bring that fire and we bring that energy that we need to correct some of the things. And I'm still holding out for Coach DeBoer because I think he can make the tough decisions, and I think he's got us going in the right direction. So I'm hoping to see that this season, and I'm excited for it.
And yeah, and to be fair, I mean, that's what's most important as a coach, head coach, I should say. I mean, it's a lot more than just coaching football. I mean, you're overseeing so many things. You're the leader of a large group of men and women. And I think it's important to know and understand, if you're not the guy that's always going to jump people, if that's not necessarily your style, which, I mean, he can get on guys too, but we know it's, a little bit different, right? It's critical that you have other people around you that can be enforcers. You guys have heard me talking about that. And that's why I do like the hires that he's made, because to me, it kind of indicates, all right, these guys appear to be enforcers, right? That's their style. And that's what our position groups need. We want to be more physical. Well, that starts with, number one, getting the right guys, but two, having the right attitude and mentality. And that starts from the guys that they're listening to every day. And I agree 1,000% with Jake, man. Players can smell the BS. If you're a coach and you're just kind of just faking the funk, or you're not really qualified to be doing something, or you're not very good at it, especially guys that were here before and were being coached by the best guy to ever do it, they can smell BS, man. That's true. That's a very solid point. But I do like the additions that we've had, and hopefully we can see that pay dividends this upcoming season. We appreciate the call, Carson. I appreciate you being patient with us, man.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thank you. Roll Tide.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. Roll Tide. We got to hit a break. When we come back, we'll keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. Do you have crack? What? Father Time's undefeated. You old cats can't compete with young legs. Listen. I listen. I'm humble enough to admit they're going to have an advantage with the youth to an extent, but brother, that dude, that's his name, that dude. Let's not act like we're 40 and 45. I mean, I'm 29. I haven't hit the big 3-0. I will in a couple months here. But I mean, best believe, 29 is, that's, you're talking about guys in their prime. Some guys in their prime at 29 in the league, depending on the position. But come on, man, 29? Let me think. Ruben was only, a year a grade ahead of me. I'm younger for my grade, so I would imagine Ruben's probably around 30-ish, 31. Eddie Jackson's probably around that 30. I mean, these guys are still like in that realm of borderline could go play a year in the league if the cards worked out. You know what I mean? So, but you're not wrong. I mean, it does start to catch up with you. I'll be the first one to tell you after the game or before the game. I'm telling you, I'd have to work up to really getting back in football shape. Like, rushing the passer. I mean, it's very explosive, right? If I don't stretch right, if I have any, deficiency with whether that's my hamstrings or anything, you're talking about lower back starting to kind of tighten up, your groins, you're risking, straining the groin. I'll be the first one to tell you, you're not wrong on that. You got to really prepare, but I think we're kind of overdoing it, making it seem like, I mean, even like Julio's probably 33, maybe something like that. I guarantee you Julio can go run every route you need him to run. I guarantee you. Amari Cooper, he just retired. And Coop, promise you Coop can go run every route you need him to run. But I don't know. I wouldn't sleep on the OGs, man. 29 means you got 2 years of eligibility left. Well, unfortunately, man, I used a regular red shirt my freshman year, then played the other 4. Now I did miss you know what? I just thought about it, man. My junior year, I missed a lot of time. So to be fair, I don't know. Maybe I could get one back. There's a reason in the NFL, age you're out around 30 years old. Yeah, no. Hear me out. That dude. I'll put it like this. If you're talking about guys to go out there and go play a 17-game schedule, without a doubt, yeah, these young guys are going to be much more fit to go play a 17-plus game schedule. You're talking about all the, playoffs and everything. Brother, we talking about one game. If you don't think these 30-year-olds could put shit together for one game, man, I'm telling you, you're in for a rude awakening. I promise you that wouldn't be a problem. But if you're talking about like a whole season, yeah, no. They got that. They got that. Trust me. Yeah. A lot of times when guys retire, right? Like even when I was like 25, I was already feeling like a 17-game thing and everything comes with, training camps, preseason. Then it's like, listen, that is hard. But we're talking about one game. Nah, man. Nah, we make it work, man. And welcome back into this Wednesday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. So probably just going to go back and change the whole title of this stream because we were really supposed to be hitting on what we've learned through spring practice thus far, which now we do understand. And you guys are 100% right because Coach DeBoer did say this to the next round earlier, and I think he might have said it on that "Hey Coach" thing. I hadn't watched the whole clip yet, but there is going to be practice after A-Day. So flag on the play. I'm over here thinking, it's the final week of spring ball. We're wrapping things up. Well, we're going to call an audible. We got Thursday, we got A-Day, then we got 2 more practices next week, guys. Now they aren't open to anything. Maybe they'll have some media availability. I'm sure they'll probably maybe have one. It's not listed on the calendar, so maybe they won't. But I don't know. Maybe I'll go catch one of them before they really put the pads away. Unless the A-Day is all great and stuff, maybe I won't feel the need to, but maybe I'll go up there. Who knows? That said, real quick, because I know we're going to have to hit a break pretty quick to catch up on our schedule here. Coach DeBoer did speak to the next round earlier today and gave an update on a number of things going on this spring. Again, he will be joining us here on the Miller's Edge on Monday of next week following A-Day at 12 Central Time at the top of the hour. But he goes on to mention we still have 4 practices left, so just a little over 2/3 done. So to me, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done between now and when we finish next Thursday. I know a lot of times the spring game and A-Day is the end, just with the way the schedule worked and being in the stadium and things like that on the 11th. There's a lot of things we have accomplished. I think we've been consistent, and it's a trend going upwards. I really don't feel, especially in the last 5 or 6 practices, I think it's been elevated. I was going to say not a drop off, but it's been elevated as far as what you want to feel from an expectation when guys take the field, kind of what you're going to get. That's key. It's easier said than done. And of course, that's the goal, but it still has to happen. He went on to say our guys with so many faces have come in They were wide-eyed early on, really appreciative of what Alabama brings to them, whether it's the resources or the staff. That's all on them. It's been an awesome spring that way, and we've got a long ways to go. We probably have had more, for sure, knowns with the guys returning a year ago than we did this year. I can point to position groups that are pretty veteran, that got a lot of veterans, especially the defensive backfield. He goes on to say a number of things, but I don't want to just sit there and read a whole bunch. But I know he did mention that, or somebody mentioned maybe like the concert. I think there's like a Morgan Wallen concert. Maybe that was why they couldn't do, I guess, 8A the following weekend, which makes total sense. But in terms of some things that we've learned over spring ball, I'll just start here. Number one, quarterback battle. Definitely heating up, right? We've learned that both guys have done some good. Both guys have definitely had some moments that they need to learn from and clean up. But without a doubt, whether it's for me going to that scrimmage on Friday, whether you just hear all this intel coming out, man, there's something special about the young man, Keelan Russell. That's not to say that he's running away with the job. In fact, I think it's still very much close. One could even argue that Austin Mack still is right there in position to end up being the starter. But the more practices in that we get, it's evident that a lot of people just can see something a little bit different in a guy like Keelan Russell. Now, the biggest question is, can he continue to grow, develop, and mature, learn, right? Get to a point where he doesn't have so many of those young player mistakes, which I feel like is going to be critical to him ultimately earning the job. So we've learned that. We've learned that this offensive line has already made progress in developing some continuity. If you look at it, pretty much named the starter at left tackle. Coordinator says yes. Head coach says not quite. If you look at it, he's getting majority of those snaps at left tackle. So you got your left tackle somewhat penciled in. We'll just say lightly penciled in. And he's looked good this spring. I can vouch for that. I've seen him in action, and I think he's going to be a good player. Definitely some things he still needs to keep working on. But you definitely can understand the potential that Jackson Lloyd has, and he's had a solid spring. Racing Delgatti has stepped up. They've been pleased with him. Biggest thing is for him, he's got a number of snaps under his belt as a college football player, just at a different level, a little bit of a lower level, quite a lower level. But so far, man, he's held his own this spring, had a nice offseason program, and you're seeing that, with what he's doing on the football field. So you got your center doing some good stuff. Then Michael Carroll, we've learned that, yes, we know he can play tackle from what he did last year, but right now it seems like it might be better off having him at guard, giving you some presence on the inside as they work Javen James on the right side at tackle. So right now I would say what we've learned is the offensive line is slowly coming along. Now they have a ways to go, whether that was just my assessment. You've heard Coach DeBoer talk about it. Running game has had some small flashes here and there, but the consistency isn't quite there. And they struggle a little bit after pretty solid in pass pro scrimmage one. Second one, where there was a lot more pressure being thrown at them, they had some issues that they need to clean up. So there's some updates there. Tight end room looking to be pretty solid. Nice addition with Josh Ford. Some young guys really stepping up and doing some good things. In wide receiver room, which went from not having many players in it at all, it's starting to look like there's some solid depth being built. Derek Meadows having a solid spring. Noah Rodgers being a nice addition to this team. And last but not least, the running backs. We know that guys like A.K. Deere and Daniel Hill look to build off of some of those opportunities that they received last year, but you can't count a guy out like Kevin Riley and even a true freshman like Trayshawn Brown, who there's so many backs, not enough carries to go around. Some of these guys we've mentioned might not even really get a whole bunch of snaps, but we know that there's a lot of good competition going on in that running back room, and hopefully we can see that on the field this upcoming fall. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we'll give our final thoughts on the defense of what we've learned so far, and we'll wrap things up on this Wednesday edition of the Miller's Edge right here, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Coming up on the game.
I didn't realize I was muted. I was saying I didn't realize how quick time was flying, man. I got to be quick. Not going to have long when we come back. Yeah, I'm just going to change the title on this whole stream because people are going to click on it later and be like, where is he talking about what we've learned? We've talked about everything but what we've learned. If Saban's giving you guys a pregame speech, get those juices flowing again. Yeah, alumni is going to take a competitive nature of those teams, which is different. We got to decide too. Are we going flag? Or are we going the real deal? I want to go the real deal. I'm kind of itching to put some pads on. I mean, I want to go the real deal. But I'd be cool with flag. Flag would be cool. But after watching that whole deal with like the USA flag team, I mean, it's clear. Flag football is a different beast, man. They're going to listen. Flag football, they're going to have an edge on us. I'm not going to lie. They're going to have an edge on us in flag football, man. I'll agree with that youth, man. They'll probably have an edge for sure. Let's see. Coop would have every DB in that room looking silly. Now, I'm with you on that one. I think Xavier Brown and DJ Lee are phenomenal cornerbacks. Xavier being one of the best ones in the country. But Amari Cooper, man, that's a different type of animal, man. In terms of route running, yeah, that dude is on another level. Let's see. Might as well bring back Sean Alexander. Okay, now that might be a little bit of a stretch. That might be a little bit too far back, but Sean Alexander was a dog. But you're talking about a dude that's how old is he now? Probably what, mid-40s? And at running back, Ramon said, "You're 29. Sorry for my comments. Didn't want to make you mad." No. This is all fun, man. It didn't make nobody bad. No. I was shocked that somebody might have felt that like the younger guys would. Again, I think you left out like the following part, but when it read initially like the younger guys would have the physical advantage, maybe like you meant just physically being younger, but I initially was thinking you meant like they would be more physical, and I'm like, man, I don't know about that. Sean Alexander's 52. Yeah, we could go thud to keep everybody up, keep everybody safe. Now, that's what I'm saying. Like, this came up. I was going over this. They always have like these teach tape things from like our staff that was here that used to to give those coaching clinics. And I just like going back and watching them sometimes, kind of like refresh on some of our stuff, like the way we played, and keep my football terminology high. But no, I came across the pass rush one, man. There's a number of clips on there from me in like practice. And I'm like, dang, these are from when I was like young. This was like my freshman, sophomore year. But now like chop spin that I'm working right here, I ain't gonna lie to you guys. I don't know if that might get my groins, man. I don't know if my groins are ready for the chop spin. And of course, Curry jumping all sides, man. Offensive lineman moving before the snap, man. They'll never call that, but it's all good. But yeah, that we might need to keep that in arsenal. I don't know if I'm ready to be working a chop spin right now. But those stab clubs, everything else, yeah, we're good on that. All right, so we're going to have like a minute when we come back to close out on radio. We'll hit our read for Mr. Adam Lamparello. We need to do that. We'll save the whole defensive thing for tomorrow. Man, I didn't realize time was flying like that, man. You have these good conversations, these good topics, man. That's what happens. We had the whole Jeremiah Smith thing first, and then the OGs versus the Young Bucks, man. It's a good show. Definitely a fun one, man.
2. Download the Tide 100.9 app right now in the App Store and Google Play, and take the Crimson Tide everywhere you go.
And welcome back real quick to the Miller's Edge. Just wanted to give a big shout and thank you for Lamparello Law, who supported today's show. Again, that is Lamparello Law Education and Advocacy, founded by attorney and professor Adam Lamparello. Again, he works with high school, college, graduate students on academic and career success, providing mentoring, exam and test taking preparation, subject matter mastery, application strategy, personal statements, resumes, long-term academic and professional planning, and so much more. Of course, that legal representation for students, faculty, athletes, whether it's academic misconduct, whether that's NIL, or all other criminal defense matters, they've got you covered with genuine care, passion, relentless advocacy, and of course, They're going to do it at a very, very affordable rate. 201-317-5115 is the number you can reach them at, or you can always email them, adam@lamparello-law.com. Again, that is Lamparello Law Education and Advocacy, the official representation of the Miller's Edge. That'll do it for us on this Wednesday edition. We'll be back tomorrow right here, joined by Adam on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
You've been listening to the Miller's Edge, tackling sports daily.
Chase, appreciate you, brother. Let's see, before we get out of here, split the older guys into two teams versus two teams of the current players, 2 10-minute halves. Yeah, or really you could kind of do it like they did with that flag football tournament they had the other weekend, right? You could have like a couple sets of teams of OGs, then like one current team, something like that. Then you have like a tournament, kind of like what they did. I think they only used 3 teams. They did a tournament like that. Make the young guys play, several other games since they got all that juice. Yeah, I'm just going to change the title on this stream because we didn't even get to really cover what we've learned, unfortunately. But fun show, though. I enjoyed it. Definitely a very fun show. I appreciate you guys participating. We had a whole bunch of comments. I apologize. I probably missed a whole bunch of them. I'll be better at reading the comments. It's just hard when you're hosting a radio show and you're trying to make sure you're keeping the flow of the radio show and you don't want to get caught just reading a million comments. But I'll do better about getting to the comments. I promise you guys that. See if I missed any comments or questions. Let's see. Let's see. Spring game idea, fan fest. People can pay to tour parts of the facility. And then there's an alumni flag football game. Have the game after the spring game. I think you'd make NIL money. That's a good idea. I mean, I think there's a lot of things that you could do. I mean, especially with all the resources, I think you could really tap into a lot of stuff, man. And I don't mean it to say like we don't do a bunch with ours, but I just feel like there's a lot of things that you could get creative with, and it could really help generate more, I guess, NIL money, just more attention, more subscribers. And I think the people that subscribe would just be a lot more happy with kind of, because I've heard kind of a mixed bag, man. Some people, at least early on, have said like they didn't feel like I guess the NIL program or whatever it was really came through on all the things that they initially had maybe promised or something like that. And I think it's been better since, but I don't know. I think there's some stuff that you can tap into to really maximize some of the stuff. Bama Standard says, one of my biggest questions going into 8A is, does Alabama have a closer on defense? We've been missing that. Really good question. Personally, I mean, I think the closest thing to it would be Yonze Pierre. I think Yonze emerged as that type of player last season for this football team, and I think it's important he continues to take those steps. And we had him on the show, and he was talking about some of his rush plans and his mentality when he's getting after the quarterback. So I think he's probably that guy. And I wanted to get into this conversation today, and I completely missed the chance to do it, which is fine. We got plenty of time to do it tomorrow. But with Justin Hill, because I noticed under the video, I posted the video with Clint kind of breaking things down, and I had mentioned Xavier Griffin as a guy that I see that could potentially earn himself a role as maybe a third down option, a guy that you can put in there to give you something a little bit different, rushing off the edge, trying to affect the quarterback. And without a doubt, I could totally see him being a spy candidate, meaning when you get into those odd rushes or those odd looks, especially on third down, you're playing a team like it's Texas A&M with Marcel Reed, and you need a spy. You need somebody that has that ability to go track down a quarterback, a mobile quarterback. I think that could be a great opportunity to give him, right? I think that'd be an opportunity to give him a role, which would be great. It's always great when you can find roles for players. I think Kane Womack or somebody even mentioned that. Like, it's always nice when you can have a number of guys that can contribute because it creates roles, creates value for those players, and helps keep them happy. And we live in a world where we know NIL and transfer portal is a thing, and it always just works out that way. But not even that, not like you're just trying to give it to him. I just think he has that skill set to do it. If he's playing off-ball backer, you trust him in space. If you're on a spy quarterback, you need to be a really good athlete. You got to have good closing speed. But you also have to be able to play in space, because when you get out there and that quarterback breaks the pocket and he's scrambling, man, normally those dual threat quarterbacks are not just going to sit there and just run in a straight line. Like they're going to try to make you miss and stuff. Like I know I played the position. We called it the buck. Like I was the spy when we went to those odd rushes, right? I was mugged up in a B gap. I would give the guard a little something. That way I could freeze him and let my guys work, whether we're breaking it to the back, which is just running an exit game, where the defensive end is picking the hip of that guard. My job is just to freeze him, get his attention so he doesn't turn and ear hole that guy or meet him face to face. And then I step back and I'm just scanning the quarterback. And normally we would have it where the anticipation was, I need to get do you guys know it, like a software I can use to draw on the screen? I want to start doing that so I can like draw what I'm talking about, almost like a coach would do when he's explaining something. But long story short, as a spy, the way it normally works is you want to break it, whether it's to the back, away from the back. Then that spy is going to anticipate you're going to go where that quarterback is expected to be flushed. So if you're breaking it, say, on the defensive right, and you're breaking it on that side, you're running an exit over there, more than likely when he feels that defensive end crashing like that, you know what I mean? There's a good chance he's going to end up escaping out that way because he's feeling like that defensive end is losing contain. There's also other things where we would do we'd have that 5 technique, have a high speed rush to try to flush the back, then you'd break it to the other side. I mean, there's a number anyway, but as a spy, you got to be able to track guys down. I just thought Xavier Griffin fits that mold really well. Not saying like Yonze couldn't be a spy. I'm not saying that Justin Hill couldn't be a spy, but if you have a guy who's an even better athlete, just like Rashawn, like who do we want to spy? Tim Williams or Rashawn Evans? The answer is pretty easy. Rashawn Evans. Tim Williams was a hell of an athlete, and I mean one of the best edge rushers we've had here at Alabama. But when it comes to spying the quarterback, man, it takes a different type of skill set. Typically, a guy that's leaning a little bit closer to being like a linebacker, like an off-ball guy. Those guys are going to be better and more comfortable in space. All that said, somebody was basically making it seem in the comments as if like, we just were completely like discrediting Justin Hill, which I was kind of confused because I'm like, man, like I show Justin Hill love like all the time. Like everybody knows I'm a huge fan of Justin Hill. My biggest thing is I think it would be very beneficial if he continues taking those next steps as a pass rusher. I'm not saying he can't get after the quarterback. Like he can rush the passer. But, typically he's always appeared to me from what I've seen, a little bit more of like a speed to power guy. And when I say take those next steps, that just means like developing your pass rush plan, right? Like really working on the little things, your get off, right? Being your man in that spot, really learning the art of pass rush, where a lot of young guys is normal. You know what I mean? Like you're used to kind of either just being a good athlete and trying to just use speed on the edge or just going, straight speed to power. Because in high school, you didn't really have to have a big arsenal of pass rush tools. So when I say take that next step, it's just learning all those little key factors that help you become an even better pass rusher, because it truly is an art. But anyway, it seemed like the guy in the comment just made it seem as if like I was discrediting him, which was weird because I literally said, the dude is phenomenal at setting the edges. Want to see him take those next steps. And I even went as far as saying that personally, if it was me, like I think Zulu is going to be a solid addition. All right, somebody that can help generate pressure, but you guys have heard my take on that. I don't see him as that guy, kind of like what they're talking about, like a closer, somebody who's just going to be a major threat, rushing off the edge. I didn't really see that from him. I didn't see that from his tape when I watched him at South Carolina. You guys heard me say that. And just seeing him in person, I still don't really have that vibe from him. I think he can be better than what I saw on tape, but I would almost go as far as saying I have more confidence in a guy like Justin Hill developing and making progress as a pass rusher than I would rolling with Zulu, even though all those guys are going to get snaps. They're all going to play and get plenty of snaps. It's really just about who emerges. I mean, it could start off where Zulu gets more reps on third down across from Yonze, but then as Justin proves that he's a reliable option out there as well, he gets more opportunities. But I mean, one thing I didn't speak on, I'm not saying too much, but everybody keeps asking about, whoa, can Justin and Yonza be on the field at the same time? Yeah, they can. We talked about those, nickel situations where you're running like nickel rabbits or dime rabbits, but also don't forget, I'll just throw this out there. They have packages. They have 3-4 packages, right? Like we've seen that over the last 2 years with Kane Womack. Without getting into too much, just know, I mean, they're exploring a number of options where you see several edge guys on the field at one time. So, and just because it's not like, a third down package, does not mean you're not going to get after the quarterback. I mean, people throw the ball on first down. And so if you're in base and you got 2 outside backers in there, I mean, we used to have a call, it's called stab, where basically both edge guys are blitzing off the edge. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities for these guys to show what they can do in terms of getting after the quarterback. You just got to step up. I mean, to me, I feel like I wouldn't say it's just wide open. I mean, because you got Yonza penciled in, but the other thing I forgot to mention too is 41. You guys are going to have to remind me his name. I think he's a freshman. He had some nice rushes in the scrimmage. And I think that was the guy that I was watching his tape when he was coming out of high school, and I said that people weren't really talking about him a whole bunch, but watching his tape, I think he's going to be a good player. Sure enough, he showed up in Friday's scrimmage. He had a couple good rushes. I was watching some of the moves he was working. Like, he's one of those guys that seems like he's kind of got, some juice to him with his pass rush already, even though he's young. Let me look. What is his name, man? I'm pretty sure it's the guy that I was like, man, I think he's like from the state, had like 18 sacks. They weren't even his numbers. I just was watching his tape. And I was like, man, he's a good football player. I think he's like 6'2", 6'3". Just people weren't talking about him a whole bunch coming out of what's it called? Coming out of high school, and I don't know if he plays this year or anything, but I think he's going to end up being a decent player. Let me see. I'm trying to find maybe you guys put it in the chat. What's 41's name? Do you guys know? They should make our pass rushers chase a chicken. Man, listen, if they ever need some pass rush drills, man, I tell you that cut up of all the stuff that we used to do. I mean, like, we just were so intentional with our pass. I'm not saying that they're not. Just sometimes when I watch our guy, or at least when I've watched our guys rush over the last couple of seasons, I haven't seen guys working, a number of moves like we used to, or like being as intentional with it. Like, we always had a rush plan. We always, were big on developing counters. We were always big on setting up our rushes. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't just like, hey, I'm just going to just run down. I feel like I've seen a lot of guys where it's just try to go speed to power, just run down the middle of guys. I'm like, nah, man, you got to work half a man. You got to use that athleticism that you got. Like, you got to sell stuff. You got to set your rushes up. You got to counter. Oh, your wife wants to see this playbook? Hold on. Where is it at? I got you, Carlos. Yeah, so this is like one binder for make sure I ain't got no. That's like one game install. It's for Georgia SEC championship game in 2023, I think. So yeah. But this would be for like our player install for a week would not be this big. Like, they would give us a lot of stuff that's in here, but this was more like if you go in the office and you find one of these things, but it's got all these calls in here. I mean, it's crazy, but goes over like Georgia's install. I mean, like, for example, here, you're not going to be able to see it though. It kind of goes over all these tendencies and all these things that they were expecting to get. And like, for example, like this sheet right here shows like first downs, 2nd and 1 and 6, second and 1 to 6, 2nd and 7 plus, 3rd and 1 to 6, 3rd and 7 plus, and it shows like their personnel groupings, how many times they lined up in silver, blue, pony black, pony green. It just It keeps track. I mean, like it's a whole bunch of just crap. Yeah, Matthews, I'm pretty sure. Thank you. Yeah, he had some nice rushes in Friday's scrimmage, man. And that was the guy I was telling you guys that I was like, man, I feel like people aren't really giving him enough love right now coming out of when we signed him. He did some good stuff on tape coming out of high school. But yeah, this is a bunch of install in here. Wondering if they're relying on size and length over technique because Bama has been poor in that area. Yeah, I mean, if you just watch, like, again, I'm not trying to like knock our guys, but I'm just being honest. Like, if you go watch guys like Ruben Bain and you go watch guys like Mesidor from Miami, right? Now I understand that their defensive line coach is Jason Taylor, NFL Hall of Famer as a defensive end, one of the best pass rushers to play the game. But if you just watch how those guys rush, man, I mean, it's next level. I mean, and granted, they are older players. I get that. There are guys that are going to be top draft picks. Both guys are probably going to be first rounders. But if you just go watch them, man, like they work a number of different moves. They know who they are as rushers. Like there's a plan there. I just feel like over the past few years, honestly, it's been for quite some time. Like I haven't seen our edge rushers really work a bunch of stuff. Like I remember, like I used to meet with Chris Braswell like once a week. I mean, he used to basically just say straight up, man, like we don't really work a bunch of stuff. Like, he would, chop it up with me about a lot of that. Granted, I mean, like Dallas and him and even Will, like those guys were really good pass rushers, but it's crazy because a lot of that was just them just kind of naturally being, you know what I mean, like good football players. But I feel like I ain't really talked to Dallas about it, but all the other guys used to, anytime I talked to them, they would make comments about not really feeling like they were being developed as pass rushers. So I just think it's important, man. Like, pass rush is so important. I don't know if people just neglect it or they just assume like, yeah, collapse in the pocket is the quickest way. You just want to affect the quarterback. But if you really watch, man, I mean, other teams have guys that just work a lot more than we do. I feel like a lot of the times, matter of fact, let me see if I can pull up. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull something up real quick. Let me see if somebody has a cut up of some of these guys. Miami knew how to attack your pinch point on your O-line. They knew how to breach most of the lines. Yeah, I'm just talking about like their edge guys specifically, just the moves they work. I mean, their instincts when they're rushing, like it's just different. You know what I mean? Like, now granted, again, we're talking, it's hard if you're comparing, I guess if you're comparing to a team that has like two soon to be first rounders, it's probably a little tough of a comparison, but I don't know. We'll do that one day. We'll break down some pass rush stuff, and I can show you better than I can tell you guys. But I'm gonna get out of here for today. If you guys don't mind, if you're watching on X, going over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 5K, and I want to say we're making great progress. I know I say that every time we get on here, but we really are. I think we are at, we're at 4418, guys. So we're approaching 4,500 now. So we're getting close. I think yesterday we were at 43 something. So we're slowly but steadily making progress. So if you guys don't mind, if you're watching on X, man, just, if you have a YouTube channel, go over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. That helps us out. We're on the road to 5K. Hit that like button if you guys haven't already. That helps us out as well. Tomorrow we got Adam, we got Brandon Clear. And then next week on Monday, we've got head coach Kalen DeBoer joining the show. We'll get his thoughts on A-Day and everything coming out of the spring, as they got 2 more practices next week. Now that we've learned that, and we'll keep on rolling like we always do. We appreciate you guys as always. Have a great rest of your day. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow.